You've gone good.
I've had to.
So what have you been doing in the past 50 years, Ingrid?
Traveling mostly.
Traveling? Or running?
Both. After the war, I spent a few years in Israel with the Mossad. And then a couple of years in England with special services, and then with the CIA.
You had good teachers.
The best.
So what Breslau was saying about the murders was true?
They weren't murders. They were assassinations. There's a difference.
The end result is the same.
Yes, but some people deserve to die. That's the difference.
Must be quite a responsibility being judge, jury, and executioner.
You think I want to do what I do?
I don't know what to think.
I've only killed the ones who needed it.
How many?
Not enough.
Dick Tiger! Welcome to Highlander Rewatch, the podcast where each and every week we talk about another facet of the Highlander universe, and this week is no different. I'm one of your rewatchers. I'm Keith.
This is Kyle.
This is Eamon.
Tiger uppercut. Do you think that was his special move, Dick Tiger?
Yeah, the Tiger uppercut. That's where it got its name.
Tiger. These are Street Fighter jokes. Sagat.
Saget.
That's right.
Yeah, Bob Saget.
Bob Saget.
my favorite home video host / Street Fighter.
/ vulgar comedian.
That's right.
That is right.
That's right.
Okay, well, before we hop into this week's episode, which is going to be episode 9, the Valkyrie, or Valkyrie.
The Valkyrie.
We thought we'd kick things off with a little game. And so we're going to be playing the old Highlander catalog game. And so, Eamon and Kyle, I'm going to read you a item description from the 1999 Highlander catalog. And based on the description and the picture, you are going to try to guess how much that item costs. Whoever gets closest gets to give their star rating first at the end of the episode. Are you ready to play?
I'm ready.
Ready.
All right, guys. This week, we're going to be talking about Amanda's Kelly purse.
Excuse me.
That's right, Amanda's Kelly purse. This is like Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. Amanda's Kelly purse.
Do you know the origin of that?
I feel like I heard it at some point and did not commit it to memory. What is it,
Some
Kyle?
woman named Ruth bought an existing business called Chris's Steakhouse, and it burned down at some point. She reopened it, but wanted to specify that this was her version of Chris's Steakhouse. That's why it's Ruth's Chris Steakhouse.
That's the dumbest
yeah,
thing
it's
ever.
To be clear, it is dumb.
The fact that became like a national chain of mediocre steakhouses is like
it's
baffling. That
it's
nobody was
utterly
like,
baffling.
yeah, this is a great product. Why don't we change the name to something that's like intelligible?
Yeah.
Like,
I'm baffled that steakhouses still exist. I was at the Palm once, and I was like, this sucks. And it's so expensive.
Outback, baby.
all those like high-end steakhouses, at least in Philadelphia, get fucking panned by like the local food critics.
It's like
because
80s food.
Well,
They
that's
cook
it.
the steaks in a pan?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's it.
But it's like, it's food for rich people that don't know what good food is, I think. That's kind of the idea I always thought. Like, they just want to buy something expensive and, like, flaunt their shit.
Yeah. And
Anyway.
invariably get a well-done steak.
That's right.
Those fucks.
And a side of asparagus.
With ketchup.
That's right.
Delicious ketchup.
Yeah,
I like
is this a joke about our president?
Who? I like the Ted Turner Steakhouse that used to be in Center City. Ever go there?
Isn't that
Wait,
all
I don't remember
gone?
that.
It's
What's that?
gone. Yeah.
Ted's Montana Grill, the bison place.
That was Ted Turner's?
That was Ted
Yeah.
Turner.
I had no idea. I remember that building. Yeah, right on
He
Broad.
like lost his battle with who is his old rival, Rupert Murdoch, probably.
Okay.
He like lost that and was just like, screw it, I'm out of media. I'm gonna open a bunch of steakhouses.
I'm out of media. I'm going to get into meatia.
Yeah.
Hey,
Oh, the tables were covered in paper. So when I was in art school, me and my friends would go there and draw on the tables.
like an adult, like Denny's
That's right.
placemat.
We'd bring our own Denny's placemats.
And draw on them
draw
on the paper.
That's right.
Well, today we're talking about Amanda's Kelly's purse.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Is Kelly's purse, is that like a term of art that I don't know?
You're about to learn. All right, you guys ready for this description?
Sock
I'm
it
ready
to me.
to learn.
At the 1954 Academy Awards, Best Actress nominee Grace Kelly, P.S. from Philadelphia, accidentally left her purse in the limo. Amanda, there is Cary Grant's date, graciously lent the actress hers. While accepting her Oscar for her role in The Country Girl, every fashion-conscious female in the country noticed the simple but elegant purse draped on her famous shoulder. Her famous shoulder.
She's not famous, but that shoulder.
That's right.
Choice.
A fad was born. Ours pays homage in an urban chic license plate wrapped around an inner tube body with removable strap.
Excuse me?
Yeah, I'm just picturing a life preserver.
So what it is, here, I'll hold it up. In the corner of this picture down here,
All right, come on.
they're two they're like very small purses. Like you might only be able to fit like 3 things in there. So it's a tiny little cute
And
purse.
does that have is that made of a license plate too?
Yeah, all this whole page is license plates.
So wait, did
is
Grace
this-
Kelly have a license plate purse?
I don't think so. I just think she had a tiny purse. I actually should have researched. I should have researched this.
Yeah, this really
Grace
merited
Kelly
more
purse
of your
Grace
time.
Kelly have a Highlander license plate purse?
Yes.
So anyway, so they're these tiny little purses wrapped in either the Highlander license plate or the Watcher license plate. They look like it has sharp edges too. So
Oh,
watch out.
You could
it's for
whack,
self-defense.
whack somebody over the head with
All right, Eamon, you're going to go first. How much do you think the Amanda's, like also this description that is
Amanda's
inserted
Kelly.
Amanda into the 1954 Academy Awards?
Is this in an episode?
No.
Wow.
But
that's
this
weird.
is this canon, guys? Is this
It has
Is
to,
the
it
catalog
has to be.
canon?
because that's like oftentimes they don't get into like story elements. So like in
Canon
Amanda's
law?
Watcher Chronicles,
Is this the first catalog item that has like story elements in it?
might be.
It's the first one that I
That
can
we've
remember.
read?
Yeah.
We can all agree that the chess set is canon, but a purse?
Yeah.
All right, what do you got, Eamon? How much do you think the Grace Kelly purse is with a license plate wrapped around an inner tube?
My God. $39.98.
All right, $39.98. Good call on the 98. Kyle.
All right, so I am trying to remember how much these other license plate ones cost because I have to imagine it's comparable. But I'm a goldfish and no one can remember this. I'm gonna guess it's $42.
$42, and Eamon, you guessed 30.
$39.98.
Actual retail price.
My guess was too close to Eamon's, but whatever. Good.
Are these priced to own?
No.
I'm just going to ask that every time.
I mean, they're priced for a goddamn Princess Grace Kelly to own, so
Ooh.
yes. Actual retail price, $69.95.
What? But it's little.
Yeah, it's real little.
Yeah, but that
There you
inner
go. I'll
tube
give you
is
the,
pure
you
gold.
can look at it now, up close.
Is it inner tube made out of platinum?
Right.
Pays homage in an urban chic license plate.
Good gravy. Let me see this thing.
It pays.
And there's a giant hinge on it.
Nothing says elegance like a hinge.
I know, like,
These-
could you ever imagine Grace Kelly wearing this? No.
These are hideous. These are gross. Like, at least the backpacks, like, I don't know. They're not trying to be high fashion. Like, this purports to be...
So is this like they made a bunch of these license plates and they were like, what are we going to do with these?
Slap them on shit.
slap hinges on them,
Yep.
Yeah.
apparently.
I think we've talked about this before. Like, my theory is that there's a company out there that affixes license plates to things. Like, that's like any sort of custom license plate you want. They probably just hooked up with them and were like, "Yo, we got this Highlander swag."
And I don't think I've ever seen like license plate fashion before this catalog.
Good point.
Really?
Yeah,
It didn't catch on? Shocking.
yeah the cars still
Some, like,
the cars still
did
get
some
all the
convict
good
make
license
these?
plates. Yeah.
Definitely.
Highlander is involved in slave labor.
Yeah, the prison industrial complex affects even the immortals.
We're getting political, baby.
That's right. Well,
Abolish private prisons.
Political babies.
Political babies, they're doing everything for you. It's
No collusion.
baby.
No
It's,
collusion. My
it's
God.
baby Joe Biden.
Well, let's talk about the politics of the 1940s, guys. Let's talk
Oh.
about Season 5, Episode 9. This week's episode is The Valkyrie, or The Valkyrie. This episode was first aired January 21st, 1997. It was directed by Richard Martin, who we met at the convention.
Cool dude.
So at 19, he directed a documentary for the National Film Board of Canada, entered the experimental film arena in the early 80s with his film Diminished, and was an honorable mention at the 9th Northwest Film and Video Festival. This is his very first of 9 Highlander episodes, and this was actually his very first episode for TV, period, which I think is pretty good. This is a good episode.
He like kind of dominates the like final act of Highlander, essentially.
He also did Nina. He also did Ninja Turtles: The Next Mutation.
Is that the one with Chick Turtle?
Chick Turtle.
I believe so.
I think she
Venus.
is that her name? Venus.
I believe so.
So she's named after
I assume the
The
Venus
Venus
statue,
of
Milo.
not an artist.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's the birth of Venus.
Maybe.
That's who
Oh, I
she's
guess
named
so.
after. Either way,
Although-
she's named after an artifact, not an artist.
Yeah, although I guess that makes sense. I mean, there's not a lot of. I mean, I don't know a lot of well-known female artists from that time.
From the Renaissance.
yeah, because
Yeah.
I suppose there weren't many, but maybe there are that are.
I should know this. There are, but they're not well known.
Yeah,
If
their
Smash
story
the
should be
patriarchy.
told. Yeah, right.
Yeah, and this was a missed opportunity, Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, they could have brought a
inspired-
female artist to,
you could
to
have
prominence through
Yeah.
Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, instead you brought a bunch of porn artists to prominence through Ninja Turtles.
He also directed 1998's Airbud Golden Receiver,
Yeah.
which starred the late Tim Conway. And he also did some other episodic work, videos, and movies.
Tracker.
That's right, Tracker.
Yeah.
The other Adrian Paul series where he plays the exact same character, but not immortal.
That's right.
Perfect.
Oh, he was second unit director on Battlefield Earth.
Was he really? I didn't know that. Whoa, that's
The
something.
amazing Tom Cruise, L. Ron Hubbard movie. Tom Cruise. I keep on doing that. John Travolta.
Yeah, he's
Well,
not
they're
in that.
both famous Scientologists.
Yeah.
With Forrest Whitaker as well.
yes, Forrest Whitaker, the ghost dog himself.
And what's his name in that? Is the Busey in that? The Busey.
The Busey.
Gary Busey.
No, the son. I can't remember.
Oh, I think he might play.
Or am I
the-
thinking of Starship Troopers?
You're thinking of Starship Troopers. Yeah, I forget the guy who's the star of Battlefield Earth.
Interesting.
A lot of dreadlocks in that
A
movie.
lot of dreadlocks. Anyway, this episode was written by James Thorpe. This is his second of 8 episodes. We first saw his work the other week in Money No Object.
Money, no.
Money No.
Money no.
We got some guest stars. We got Fulvio. Fulvio
Fulvio.
Sicere.
That's like a really bad, romance novel cover artist. He's like the Bobo version of that.
Oh, boy.
He's like the purse knockoff of Fabio.
Fabio.
He plays Alan Wilkinson. He was in The Flash, SG-1. He also played the character Tony in the Highlander episode See No Evil. I don't remember that
Tony.
character at all, but
You don't love her, the beloved character Tony?
nope. He has 183 IMDb credits.
That's a lot of IMDb
yeah, he's
credits.
done a lot, but all kind of small parts and stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
nothing against that, but
Just a lot.
Done a lot.
He's
yeah.
working.
He's
Sounds
working.
like you have a problem with it.
No, I don't.
It sounds- how do you really feel, Keith?
I took pause just because I'm like, but nothing you might recognize him from because he isn't starring in a ton of stuff. He's always some support. All right. Okay. This episode.
Fulvio Sicere. He was in Watchmen as Agent Forbes.
That's right.
Don't remember that character.
Yeah.
either.
A lot of these Canadian actors were in Watchmen. We had who was the guy who played Nixon? He was in an episode just
Oh,
recently.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, he
Right.
was.
Yeah. This episode also guest stars Martin Evans as Colonel Stauffenberg. He's been in MacGyver, X-Files, SG-1, of course, all Vancouver shows. L. Harvey Gold as Igor Stevanovich, and Patrick Keating as Hitler.
Yeah.
Harvey Gold was in Watchmen too.
What was he?
The New Frontiersman editor.
Oh, how about
Oh, that guy.
Yeah.
Huh.
Gotta be weird playing Hitler.
Hitler.
How
Yeah,
long do you think he had to rock the Hitler stash? Or is it prosthetic? Or not prosthetic,
I think he grew it because in the special features they say he came in with the Hitler mustache to the audition.
nuts.
Yeah, because they were like, we thought we'd have to fly somebody in from LA to do a Hitler because, who are we going to get in Vancouver? I guess, because acting pool is smaller. But no, this guy apparently came in and they said knocked it out of the park.
That's our Hitler.
That's right.
Producer, Zero Mostel.
That's right. Yeah, they didn't go with a Dick Shawn character for Hitler, which would have been something.
Amazing.
All the little flowers.
Only the God protects the Führer, baby.
Wait a minute, you're a German. They're all Germans.
So the IMDb episode description reads, in flashback, Duncan and immortal Ingrid tackle the Nazis in 1935 Germany. In modern day, Ingrid has assassinated a Russian politician and Duncan wants to stop her from killing her next target, an American white power advocate.
I like white power advocate.
Yeah, right? Interesting.
I'm a white power advocate. It just kind of takes the edge off it a
Yeah.
little bit,
advocate.
calling it a white power advocate.
Yeah, I think
that-
advocacy
just
is associated with
advocate.
positive things.
Yeah.
An advocate for social change, an advocate for justice, an advocate for white power.
Yeah. One of those doesn't seem right.
No. So, guys, let's talk about how this opens. The cold open is in this hotel room, and this is a weird thing. I was like, oh, this is some of that footage from Warmonger or something. I was like, weren't they watching a speech or something on TV then?
Oh, yeah.
And for some reason, I was convinced. I was like, maybe this is it. As I
No.
continued to watch, I then was like, this is 100% from Warmonger. No, it's not at all. I went back and watched Warmonger. And I was like, this isn't even close. I have
even-
no
not
idea
even a
why
little
my
bit.
head was like, this is the same stuff. It's not. But we got this guy, Igor Stefanovic. He's watching his own speech.
Which is, one, creepy, and two, it is the most poorly filmed speech. Who filmed this?
It's like at a
A
low
weird angle. It's like
Yeah.
it was like filmed in a bathroom. Fire your videographer, Igor Stefanovic.
Igor. So he goes to bed. I feel like he's kind of like a Boris Yeltsin looking guy. Maybe not, though. All right.
Are you saying Russians all look alike?
No,
'Cause
I
that's
thought the
racist.
look they gave this guy. Anyway, but like he's giving this speech in front of like the old Russian flag, like the sickle and hammer.
I fill their bellies with something other than food.
Right. Hate. Yeah, so he's like, oh, they can hate Muslims, Jews. Who else is he hating on?
Chechens.
Chechens. So anyway, he goes off to bed, and there's a knock on the door, and his guard answers, and it is this woman, Ingrid. And she's like, oh, like, I'm here to see Igor. And he's, I don't know. She's like, you can search me, like, I got nothing to hide. She shows that she's wearing a very skimpy, like, lingerie sort of number.
He's like, he's going to bed. Then I'm right on time.
Right.
And then, in response to her offer to search her, he does not.
Well, I think it's because, like, she shows, like, there's no way I'm hiding anything.
But she is hiding something.
Yeah, she
She's
is.
hiding a not small gun. And this guy's just like, okay. yeah.
Okay.
This is the world's worst bodyguard.
When she comes in, she's like, I'm here to see Mr. Stefanovic. And he's like, impossible. He's about to go to bed.
Right.
And I'm like, wow.
Wow.
That makes it impossible.
The tyranny of the clock.
So this, of course, has, like, I guess, not even wakened. He just disturbed, you know, Igor. And so he comes out to see what all the
What's
fuss is
going
about.
on?
And she pulls out a gun, shoots him, and then the guard shoots her and goes to call the police or whatever. And,
And
so
there's
then
this
she wakes up.
horrible ADR of the guard saying the same thing into the phone over and over again.
Over and over and over again. Send an ambulance.
So then she wakes up because, uh-oh, she's immortal, and she blasts the guard as well.
For why? Just because he saw her, I guess?
I guess she wants to make an escape, and I guess if he's not dead, he's in her way, perhaps?
Yeah, I guess. And then
Maybe.
we see her walk away for an hour, basically. This shot of her leaving never ends.
But then the recording keeps playing, now starts back up, I guess, on the TV. So over this, like, death, we now hear Igor's, like, hateful rhetoric and shit on the TV. So I thought this was an effective little opening here.
Yeah.
That's the cold open.
Cut to a boxing match.
That's right. Lots of quick cuts and stuff. They got I don't know, I thought this looked pretty good.
Yeah. I've come to the conclusion that boxing is insufferable.
Oh, no.
Well, just like the way people talk about boxing has become such a trope. And that is what Joe and Mac are doing. They're like talking about old boxers like they're in like a barber shop or
Right.
something. And Mac says, he was a middleweight champion. He hit like a mule. He hit like a mule.
And Mythos is just like, what the fuck's going on here?
He's like, who dis?
Yeah.
Or who dat?
Yeah. Dick Tiger, eh?
All right. I thought this was actually kind of, the dialogue was set up funny. He has no idea who these fucking people are.
With nonsensical names.
Right. And then, of course, Mythos quips, like, the Marquis of Queensberry would be very proud of this. And then Joe's like, who dis? Like, which was good. But then, anyone look up the Marquis of Queensberry?
Sock it to me.
Oh, boy, we got some dirt on this guy. He was a Scottish nobleman, remembered for his atheism, his outspoken views, his brutish manner, and for lending his name to the Queensberry rules that form the basis of modern boxing, which is pretty interesting. But then he's also known for something else, which is far more awful, and for his role in the downfall of Irish author and playwright Oscar Wilde.
Oh.
So apparently, I have some more info. I won't read all of this or whatever, but I guess he got in a public spat with Oscar Wilde over one of his plays, and I guess this play featured a villainous atheist as one of the characters. And this guy had started this, like, the secular society. I don't know, it seems like he's a fairly interesting person who is also, like, an asshole. Like,
There are a lot of those.
so he, like, got in this, you know, public feud with Oscar Wilde over his treatment of an atheist in this play. And then years later, the Marquis of Queensberry's son was, I guess, appointed to the House of Lords, but he wasn't. Like, it should have, I guess, been the Marquis of Queensberry first. They skipped him because he was a dickhead. So then his son was involved, but then his son had a relationship with Oscar Wilde. So he would write these, like, horrible... Like, Oscar Wilde took him to court for libel over some of this like awful shit that he did. And I
The
guess
Marquis or the Marquis' son?
for the Marquis. Yeah, because he's like, you corrupted my son because you had an affair with him, this and that. Anyway, it sounded brutally awful what he did to Oscar Wilde. So great,
Fun times.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a guy.
What a guy. Marquis of Queensberry.
Boxing.
But he apparently invented the boxing rules. So there we go. Joe and Mac like want to sponsor some boxing shit. Like there's some like kind of, I don't want to say throwaway lines, but they're talking about like, you really want to sponsor this? And they're talking like, oh, well, Charlie used to box and spend his
Well, this is
time
like
down
the
here.
Charlie DeSalvo Memorial Boxing Competition.
Right.
I don't know who's sponsoring this, or
I
don't know.
assume his rich friend McLeod.
Yeah.
yeah, but
Who got him
Mythos is
killed.
like, you want to sponsor this,
Right.
So I don't know. It's confusing.
And it's interesting also, like, Mythos is really like, yeah, I don't really go for blood sport, which of course in maybe the next episode will be an even starker contrast to what he used to do.
Well, he goes for blood. He doesn't go for blood sport.
Right.
He actually just doesn't like Jean-Claude Van Damme is the real problem. It's the Charlie DeSalvo Memorial Kumite.
So at this point, they get the buzz, and Mac's friend Ingrid walks in. Mythos is like, I don't fucking mess around with anybody, so I'm just leaving. And he's like, okay. And then Joe's like just sitting there, and Mythos is like, you gotta come with me. Like, what the fuck? You just gonna bail on me? So then Joe leaves. It's like, Joe, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, your literal job, again, is to watch Mac.
yeah.
And some unknown immortal just walked into this place, and you're like, I'm gonna leave too. It's like, this is like the only time you should be like, I'm absolutely staying to see what's about to happen firsthand.
You know, my job.
My job. So Mac meets his old friend Ingrid, and we get a flashback to 1935 Berlin. Mac is working for British intelligence, and him and Ingrid are dancing in a restaurant club sort of place.
Mac has a mustache.
Mac does have a mustache.
Yeah. They do the exposition waltz.
I thought it was good that they were dancing while they were doing the exposition.
Yeah.
So effective staging.
They're discussing Hitler's chances.
Right.
You're a British intelligence officer. I'm so glad we could talk about this during this song.
Right. Well, I think, Kyle, you asked earlier, like, well, why did they set so much of this in 1935 earlier?
In the episode description.
Oh, in the episode
Episode
description.
description.
I see. But I think it's important, like, the idea, because this is all about, like, the rise of certain people to power. So then this young kind of kid comes in, and he is, like, all bloodied up. And we find out that he was just talking on a street corner, and some brown shirt shitbirds beat the shit out of him. A lot of shits in that sense.
Yeah, a lot of shits, but they're bad people.
Yep.
And they come in after him, and Mac decides to beat the shit out of them.
Yep.
Yeah, Mac decides that he's gonna... He's just craving some justice, apparently.
Yeah, he really, like, doubles down. They're like, oh, are you, like, this Jew's friend? And he doesn't even admit to that. He's like, nope, I'm his brother. And then
Yeah.
just starts smashing Nazis.
I think I said before in the episode with Daimler, was that Mortal Sins? Mm-hmm. That, like, I could just watch Mac beat the shit out of
up
Nazis
Nazis.
all the time.
Yeah.
So, you know, this scratches a certain itch for me.
Yep, we get a pretty cliched line. He's like, say hi to Hitler for me, as he like...
What is that? What, do you think this guy knows Hitler?
Right.
Yeah.
He actually just says that anytime he meets a German person.
Right. But we get some, like, conflicting interests here, because Ingrid and even the kid are like, yeah, I don't know if that was, like, the best
A good idea,
because,
yeah.
like, that's just going to bring more of these guys on this place. But I guess the bartender disagrees. He gives Mac a free beer. You know?
Yeah,
Mac have a hidden knife.
he does.
That's
What
right.
is
He pulls
that
out
all
a knife.
about?
I'm like,
Like,
holy
I don't-
fuck.
I don't know, like a spring-loaded thing, a knife pops out, which seems like an escalation to me. But
Right. So now we're back to the boxing match in the present. And some creepy looking dudes come in. They look like, they're police officers or something. And Ingrid looks worried. And so she pulls the fire alarm to evacuate the building.
yeah, not suspicious at all.
Nope.
That one. What is her accent? Like, is it just a German accent?
I think she just has a German accent.
Is
When
it?
she says denominator, and she says it like Janine from Ghostbusters. She says denominator. Oh, and there's like a record scratch when Duncan fights the Nazis.
That's right, there is.
They go back to Mac's loft.
That's right. They
It
head
always
back
goes
to
back to
Maxwell.
Ghostbusters and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They're like our two...
Touchstones.
They're our North Star.
So you want to tell me what happened back there?
She doesn't want to tell him anything, really. She makes up some excuses, like, oh, like I was just staying at the same hotel that Russian oligarch or whatever he was at, and I have passport problems. I think that's why they're after me.
Yeah, I didn't even know his name. Which, of course, she immediately gets caught in a lie. We didn't think she is very bad at this.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, how have you done this for so long? She immediately says, like, what do you have to do to get a drink around here? And then at some point she's like, well, you know, the world's a much better place without Igor What's-His-Face. And he's like, I thought you said you didn't know his name. And then she's like, I gotta go, bye.
Right. I think I heard it. Bye.
Yeah, bye. What's with people in the show and not finishing drinks?
Yeah.
Nobody can finish a drink.
She orders the drink and then leaves.
She ordered
Yeah.
it 5 seconds ago.
So now we cut to a park, and Mythos and Mac are walking. Weird, like, just observance here. Like, I remember doing this as a kid, like, walking to get the paper. That's what they're out to do. Like, what an odd thing now to think of. Like, I have to leave the house and go get the paper from a machine on the street. Like,
Why don't they just get it delivered? Is Mac just not a regular subscriber?
maybe not.
But they're both getting papers.
That's right.
From 2 different machines.
Maybe they have different tastes
Do they
in the-
read different? Mythos is a New York Post kind of guy.
Oh, boy. So Mythos is asking about Ingrid. He's like, yeah, like, why are they after her or whatever? And I was like, why does he know? Like, I guess Mac has filled her in because I was like, why does he know any of this? He left.
I guess they've been walking to get that newspaper.
That's right,
They gotta
walk
talk
the
about. You gotta talk about something.
So there's some funny dialogue. I guess there's an ad for a Greek antiquities something show.
Can't wait, a 2,500-year-old garage sale.
But then Mythos is like, oh, maybe that stuff's mine. I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
But then Max sees an ad for, what is it called here? It's an ad for the New Freedom Party. Alan Wilkinson speaks out Tuesday, September 25th. And then it says Seacouver Community Center.
Oh.
This
Now
is,
is
I
the-
think, the very first mention of Seacouver ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now is the time for white America to stand up. It says.
Some chilling things in this episode
Yeah, it's
That-
kind of weird.
are still relevant.
Unfortunately, still relevant.
Yeah, so
How
Max
many years later is this?
20 plus.
5 years.
So anyway, Max sees this ad and he's like, oh, fuck. So he's kind of putting some pieces together and he's like, I gotta go. So now we cut to the location of this rally. And it took me a minute to realize, like, the community center is the same place the boxing match was at.
You know, the community center
yeah.
that has
Right.
enough room for a boxing ring.
Yeah.
Well, I guess
This
it might.
this is a nice community center.
Yeah, but I in the first scene, I was wondering, like, well, why is Ingrid at a boxing match? And I couldn't really figure it out. It's because it's the same location, and she's like
she's
figuring out,
staking it out.
exactly.
Ruth Chris Steakhouse.
That's right. So he's giving this like gross speech about like now's the time for white America to stand up, and it's like, oh yeah, I heard that a couple weeks ago on fucking news. Great, like
Neat.
To remember whose sweat built this nation.
Slaves.
Yeah, slaves.
I did
Is that
actually.
who he means? That's probably what he means.
Right. I did laugh out loud. At some point, they're like, sir, we need a mic check. And he just goes over to the mic and he's like, white is right. It's like, that's the mic check like line. It's like, you don't want to just do like test, 1, 2, 3.
But then he's like,
That's-
how's that?
Right. It's like, fuck you.
And the sound guy just goes, deplorable next.
Yeah. But that sound, it's
Yeah.
coming through, baby.
Hit your T's a little softer, bud.
Yeah.
But otherwise, you're good.
We need a pop filter on this thing for all the power.
So Ingrid comes in with the intention of assassinating Wilkinson, and Mac of course knows what's up, and he's trying to stop her, and she's like, you're my friend, get out of my way. And I like this. He's like, no, I'm your friend, that's why I'm in your way.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good. Yeah, eventually I guess one of the security guards sees that there's something's brewing over here, and so he goes running, and so she drops like the mic in the mic. She dropped the mic.
She dropped the mic.
She drops the gun in Mac's hand and
Because,
like,
he has a gun.
right, and runs off. So then Mac is left kind of defending himself, like, oh, shit. Oh, one thing I did notice, if anyone, it was hard to hear some of his speech in the background. Wilkinson at some point says something along the lines of, like, we believe in a white God. And
Yeah,
I was
that's what
like,
he says.
what the fuck? Like, a white God, okay. Like,
Yeah, Jesus, that Middle Eastern white guy.
yeah. It reminds me of the Boondocks. There's a great episode where I guess it's all about like appropriating Martin Luther King's image and other people like Gandhi and stuff. And I remember the preachers like, let's pray to white Jesus. And like they keep like they always specify
Right.
we're praying to white
white
Jesus
Jesus,
today,
yeah.
which is good. So now we cut later at this rally location in the community center, and Mac is being grilled by the like lead inspector here, who's quite the character.
With the world's most
Yeah.
insane voice.
It's just like a
Completely
TV's Ricardo Montalban
Yeah.
or something.
Are you a writer of fiction, Mr. McLeod?
So it's very like noir writing, I think. It's kind of funny. Because I don't know, this show delves into noir more often than I usually think it would.
Say that again?
That it like delves into like noir territory. Like I kind of always forget, like, I don't know, like the movie is very noir.
Super noir.
And the first season of the show was pretty noir in a lot of ways. Like with the detective plots, the voiceovers, like it kind of goes to that well more often than I think I remembered it.
Yeah.
Going because this guy seems like he's right out of an old movie or something. So Mac is like recounting this tale about like this woman came in, she gave me the gun, blah blah blah.
I don't know who she is.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And he's not buying any of it.
Right.
Well, that's the thing. He sort of is, though. because despite catching him with a gun, he did not arrest Mac.
No.
You want him to talk? You know what you do? You arrest him and fucking charge him until he talks.
Right. There was also another instance here. This inspector is like, nothing is impossible and nothing is what it seems. And then he starts cackling. And I was like, are you like a fucking like wizard in a video game? Like, this is insane dialogue.
Usually when a man stops an assassin, they pay more attention.
So there's no prints or anything on the gun. Because I'm weird, I went back and checked that she's like wearing gloves. So they're right. Like, don't bother looking for prints.
Yeah, any thorough investigator would just not bother to check the gun. Because nobody's ever made a mistake or messed up.
Not even once. It is about murder. Murder.
So we cut back to the loft.
It took me so long to figure out why Interpol, like, why. I was like, why is this guy's accent here?
I know,
and then
right?
Someone when he drops so that he's from Interpol. And I'm like, do you really have jurisdiction here?
I thought the same thing. Like, can you just show up in a place and suddenly he's just, I don't know. I was like, what the fuck is this?
My theory is no.
Right.
This seems like a local crime.
Yeah. So we go back to the loft, and we're getting into the territory of some spacey synth music in these upcoming episodes. Did anyone notice, like, I was like, this is like sci-fi music. It's
There's a lot of sax music in this season.
Every establishing shot is like this sexy sax lick. I'm like, oh yeah, it's time to get going, and then it's just normal shit. Anyway, so Mac gets the buzz heading up to his place. This is the first use of the like slowed down footage, I guess, of the buzz, which is Richard Martin's trademark. I guess he brought to the show. Whereas like Clay Boris was the dolly push in. Because other people were just doing a zoom, and he was like, no, zooms look like shit, you got to push in. But Richard Martin was like, let's do a 12-second film speed.
Works for me.
Anyway, so now we get some kind of more details, I guess. This is the clip at the top of the episode where she's like, these weren't murders. Like, I've been murdering my way across Europe. These are assassinations, which she thinks is a different animal altogether. And I guess they are in a way. I guess an assassination is a type of murder.
Yes.
Right.
It's like a rectangle square kind of thing.
Every assassination is a murder, but every murder isn't an assassination.
There you go.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly it.
But Max says, must be quite a responsibility being judge, jury, and executioner. And I'm just like, okay, Mac.
Yeah, right? He does it on a weekly basis, and he's done it to a world like a dictator before.
Yeah.
Yes.
In what was perhaps the most controversial decision Mac has ever made.
Yeah.
Right.
In his defense, though, she does scream, I am the law, a lot. Oh, wait, I'm getting confused. I'm sorry. That's Stallone.
She's Sylvester Stallone. This Ingrid is played by Stallone.
I'm the law. I'm the law.
So Mac is like, it never was this easy for you to kill. And then we get a flashback. I love this transition. This is like a crazy composite shot where they like zoom in on the window, then the window turns red, then the Nazi insignia, the swastika, appears. Then Mac enters the frame, and then the red window turns to a solid red of the flag. Like, they spent a bunch of time breaking this shot down. Which
it's a really
cool
trail of breadcrumbs to get from one to the other.
Also, question for our German listeners out there, because I know some people have written in about like how the show aired in Germany. Like, the restriction on showing a swastika on TV still existed at this point, and in the episode Mortal Sins, they basically never show it. I think we like caught a slight glimpse of a swastika. They tried to use just kind of the SS symbol. But in this one, there are swastikas everywhere. Does anyone remember if this episode actually even aired in Germany because of this?
Oh, that's a good question.
I don't know.
Yeah. Let us know.
So we now cut to Berlin, 1944. So it is 9 years after our previous flashback. So now Mac is dressed as a Nazi. It's like, uh-oh.
That was surprising. I was like, what's going on here?
They're there to meet Colonel Stauffenberg, who's a real person.
How do you guys feel about that in general? Whenever Mac interacts with real historical figures?
I'm mixed on it.
I usually don't like it. Like, there was an episode, it was one of the Callous episodes, I think, maybe Star-Crossed, where at a party...
Like, reference Picasso.
They reference, like, oh, I was at a party with Picasso. I'm like, stop it. Like, I don't like that. This, I think, is maybe the most successful use of it, only because the thing he's interacting with is, like, crucial to the story, I guess.
It is crucial to the story, and it's also not, like, a wildly famous figure. He's not meeting George Washington. Like,
No.
Yeah.
I mean, well, he does meet Hitler in this.
Well, that's
Who's maybe the most famous
Adolf
or
Hitler?
infamous. Yeah, Adolf. That one.
that
So you didn't even know need his first name. You got him.
I was like, which Hitler are we talking about here? This episode also must have inspired Bryan Singer for his Tom Cruise movie Valkyrie.
That's right.
Which is about this very plot.
Yeah, so
is.
Tom Cruise is... so you
you've
meet
seen
Tom
that.
Cruise. Yes, I have.
Yeah. I've not seen Valkyrie. I've heard it's good.
I actually do like that movie. Did anyone clock how many digits Stauffenberg had in this?
Oh, I didn't
Oh
look.
no, because he's missing like a pinky or something, right?
No, he is missing an entire hand.
Oh,
and
shit.
2 fingers on the other hand.
Wow.
In real life, and an eye.
From like a war, like from a war related.
Yeah, in Tunisia, his convoy was attacked and he was gruesomely maimed.
Wow, that's crazy.
And it was during his recovery that he gets really involved in the assassination plot for Hitler.
crazy.
But anyway, I didn't see his hand ever, and I
No, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
I imagine they didn't
Yeah.
go to that length.
They chopped his hands off.
couldn't. Yeah,
So anyway, the colonel is not impressed with Mac. He's like, "You're an
You are
Englishman."
British.
And then Mac puts on a little German show for him. I was trying to translate what he was saying. Mac mumble mouths his way through this. It's something about, I can't tell if he says König, which is king, like king. I think it's like, I'm going to sit next to the king or the leader or whatever. Something along those lines, which of course relates to the plot of the episode. But anyway, then Mac, gives a little howl, clicks his heels together, like an evil version of Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz.
Yep.
And then the colonel's like, yes, you will do. So then they sit down and hash out the plan with the salt shaker. And it's,
this is nuts. This is one of the craziest things they've ever done, and it is such a dumb drawing. It's literally just he draws a cube and then another cube.
right. None of this needed to be drawn.
It adds no information, and I guess the benefit of using salt is that you can wipe it away.
I thought that was clever. It's like, okay.
Fine, but it was so low information, and why are they talking about this for the first time now?
Now, right.
Like, it's like, okay, I know we're about to do this, but let's talk about it in a fucking diner. Right.
Like, yeah, and the information he proceeds to give is he, like, draws the base or whatever, and he's like...
Wolf's Den.
Yeah, and he's like, and here's the bunker... And here's the door, and it's like, okay, like there's like one door, great, like that's it, like
That's it,
yeah.
and we have to go through the front door. This is not a complicated complicated plot at all.
The way the shot is framed when Stauffenberg is talking, there's a portrait of Hitler behind him
Right,
that is
yeah.
like looking at him.
Yeah.
I thought
That's real
that was
cool.
creepy.
very
Yeah.
good. But yeah, this plot is stupid. It is kind of cool that they can wipe the salt away.
Yeah,
like, that is a good
clever.
touch.
Right.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's whatever. But it lets the viewers, I guess,
Looks
know
like
what
a
the plan
domino.
is.
It's just like
Looks like a domino.
Domino.
But Mac has also smuggled in, I guess, from British intelligence, a trigger that is like disguised as a cigarette pack, which I thought was kind of cool. And there's some chemical in there, so when the vial's cracked, it will eventually trigger the fuse after approximately 10 minutes.
Right.
So I thought that was pretty neat.
yeah. So Mac provides Stauffenberg with a trigger warning.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
So now we cut later to, I guess, like a staircase either in the same club or wherever they are. But Mac and Ingrid are walking and talking, and Ingrid reveals that, like, she's only ever talked about war for 200 years. She's never actually participated. And the biggest concern she has is killing a mortal. And she
Right.
expresses, like, these are people just serving their country. They have wives and children, and, who am I to take their life?
Right. She's only ever killed immortals.
Yes.
I'm going to go ahead and say that most of the people in this room, though, qualify as bad guys.
Yeah.
Like, these aren't like your run-of-the-mill dudes. This isn't like guard number 3.
Right.
Who's
I mean,
just like-
even guards it's like, this isn't a German soldier. These aren't like high-ranking Nazi guards and officials. Like, I
Right.
think we can all agree that these guys are all probably really shitty.
Certainly everyone who's like actually participating in that meeting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I'd even have to think the guards. Like, how do you rise up in the SS to the point where you will be in Hitler's presence? Like, you must be I don't know. You must be buying into it somewhat.
I'm trying to think through that now. Like, is the guard at this base a high-ranking person?
I mean, maybe not if it's just a regular old bunker used for all sorts of things. He's just the normal guy on duty there.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I could go either way on this because I think.
What were they dressed as? Was everyone wearing a Nazi uniform as opposed to like a soldier uniform?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they were all in Nazi uniforms.
Yeah.
Let's just err on the side of they're all Nazis.
Yeah, let's do
Let's
that.
I
just
think
do
that's
that.
fine. Yeah.
In a surprising move, Mac is like, nope, it's worth it. Like, we got to kill Hitler. So she's like almost taking up the Mac role in this, like having the moral dilemma. Mac doesn't seem too like cut up about this
Well, as we've all seen, Mac is fine killing when he has to,
or wants to.
or wants to, and he's been fighting in this war for a while.
Sure.
So.
So now we end the flashback. We cut back to the loft to continue the previous scene. And so,
Duncan's like, he's not like Hitler.
right. And she's like, well, he could become Hitler. And so
Yeah.
she's like trying to prevent all these people across the world from ever getting to this place.
And this guy is a bad dude. Like,
Yes.
he is
yeah.
beaten 2 gay men. I don't know if he
death.
killed
To
them.
death.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
killed
Yeah.
them. And he burned 3 black churches in the
right.
South.
And
But
so,
apparently, there's no proof of this.
right. And in more recent years, now that he's had like political aspirations, he stopped doing all of that. And she's like, yeah, now he just gives a speech and a dozen of his followers will go out and do it for him. And I was like, oh my God, this is happening right now.
Yeah, it's kind of upsetting.
Yep. So Ingrid drops a pretty good line. She says she doesn't want to look back in 50 years and think that, like, I could have saved the world from this person.
This was the first time I had this thought, and it's amplified later. This whole conflict would be a lot higher stakes if this guy looked legit in any way.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
he
He's in the Seacouver fucking community center. Like, this guy does not seem
Like a
like influential. Like,
Right.
this guy does not strike. I mean, obviously a bad dude, and you can have a whole conversation of the moral rightness of dealing with this guy. But I think if the premise is this is morally right because there's a realistic possibility that this guy will become something, I just see him and I'm like, no.
I'll chalk that up to the limits of the television show because
Yeah.
I don't know. I think
I don't get
the
the impression-
inspector later mentions, like, you know, like, well, what if this guy does become your next president? Like, I think the idea is that, like, we're supposed to think this guy's political aspirations are possible.
Yeah,
but we can only film in a little.
Yeah, but like they don't show like a media appearance by this guy
yeah.
or like anything that makes it look like he's gaining traction.
Yeah, that's actually a good idea. Like to do something small, but a news report or like him giving an interview with someone that would make it seem like a more national stage.
Like he's getting real attention. The only people who you ever hear saying anything about this are like the person who wants to kill him, essentially. Hey, Rewatchers, if you haven't heard yet, we have a Patreon page. You can go to patreon.com/rewatched and you can support this very pod. And you know what? You also get some interesting prizes like a shout out on the pod, reading customized messages, magnets. Hey, if you give at the top tier, you might even get yourself a nice little fan interview with your pals, Keith, Kyle, and Eamon. Why did Kyle refer to himself as the third person? Why did he do it a second time? These are questions that you'll get to ask us when we interview you. So go to patreon.com/rewatch to become part of our group today. And you know what? If you stay tuned to that space, you'll see some interesting Patreon exclusive content coming down the old pike. But in the meantime, Eamon, we have a special message that we need to read out.
This message is from Michael B. Is it Michael B.
Michael
Jordan?
B. Jordan,
It's
hopefully.
Michael B. Jordan. He's a big fan of the show.
Nice.
Creed. I know the answer, but you, the listeners, do not. So maybe it is him.
Yeah, you can't tell us we're wrong.
So, to us, it's Michael B. And I want to give a shout out to fellow rewatcher David Ace G.
Hey-o, dang.
I'm liking this dialogue going
Yeah.
on between two friends of the show.
This sounds like nepotism.
But just keep giving us more money and we'll facilitate this conversation.
That's right. He is awesome, even though he thinks Driving Rain by Paul McCartney is a classic album. It is the zone of Paul McCartney albums. And Mean Mr. Mustard is a good Beatles song. It is the Highlander 2, The Quickening of Abbey Road. That's pretty funny. Keep up the good work, Rewatchers, and avoid Elton John's Victim of Love album. Thank you, Michael.
Good stuff. Hey, that message could be yours. So go to patreon.com and search for Highlander Rewatched this very day.
Today.
So now we cut to Joe's bar. Mac, Joe, and Mythos are there, like, in the dark.
Yeah, this is a weirdly lit scene.
Although I kind of like, this is like that natural lighting. Like the new guy, Rex Raglan, seems to be one of his like big features he's bringing to the show. It's like, we're going to light a lot of stuff just with the lights in the room.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very dark. But
looks good.
Yeah, it looks cool.
Pool shark,
Other
Rex
than the fact
Raglan.
that they're in the dark. It's like,
Yeah.
why are you guys hanging out in the dark?
Mythos is laughing at Mac for being in one of his moral dilemmas again.
Right. Which
And he's kind of being a dickhead.
he is being a
Mythos
dickhead.
is being a
But it's
dickhead.
funny, I guess.
Yeah. Like, this is a pretty serious thing Mac's involved in, trying to prevent an assassination being committed by his friend.
That's a weighty choice.
Right.
Yeah.
So then I guess they're like, well, what's the deal with Ingrid? And he's like, I know Ingrid, and she failed to kill Hitler and has been trying to make up for it.
Why don't you ask Joe about
Ever
her?
since.
I don't need to ask Joe about her. I know about her. Right. It's like, whoa, chill.
So we get another flashback to East Prussia in 1944. So Mac is driving in a car with the Colonel and Ingrid at night, and the location of Hitler's meeting has changed. And so they're discussing, like, what's this going to mean for their plan? Because I guess it was going to be in, like, a basement bunker sort of thing where there were no windows. But now this new bunker has a bunch of windows. So they're concerned that when this thing explodes, like the blast is going to really diffuse a lot. So they're like, well, now we have to get it as close to Hitler as possible. That matters more. And the colonel's like, well, I want to look after it. Like, I'll stay with the bomb.
And he's like, no, Tom Cruise, you need to negotiate with the Allies when all this is done.
Right. Like, we need a leader afterwards. So you can help with that.
Yeah.
So Mac, and of course, rightfully so, Mac should stay because he's not going to die. So it's great.
Right.
Yeah. What ended up happening with the actual plan is the bomb goes off, and then Tom Cruise, Stenberg, starts sending out orders, like essentially from Central Command, like, hey, Hitler's dead. This is what you need to do. But then, of course, turns out he's not actually dead, and then conflicting orders come out, and like everyone in Berlin is like trying to figure out whose orders to follow.
Interesting. There's a funny line here, Mac, is like, I guess the colonel is like, oh, everyone, like, thank you so much for helping us. Like, you should be commended. And I'm going to make sure everyone knows that an Englishman helped us like overthrow Hitler. And he's like, no, it's cool. He's like, I prefer to be like anonymous, like in this whole thing. So we go to like the meeting place or whatever. So Mac is, I guess, got to explain, like, he's in charge, I guess, of the Russian front or something. So he's there to explain like what the problem is. Like, why do the English keep getting through?
Through the Russian front?
What did I say?
You said he's in charge of the Russian front, and you need to explain what the English keep getting through.
Yeah, that's what he reports on later. Like, the English keep getting supplies through the Russian
supplies
front.
Gotcha.
Right. So anyway, we now get our introduction of Mr. Hitler coming, like, emerging from the woods.
From, like, a bush. I'm like, I was like, what? Was he, like, taking a piss back there or something?
And he's, like, a small little man. Like, he's a very skinny little Hitler.
Skinny little Hitler.
Yep. Inside the meeting, this Hitler, I thought was like, he's like Colonel Klink. Like, this is the most, God.
I'm like, maybe they should have sent away to L.A.
Like,
for that other
different Hitler. Yeah. This is weird.
The destruction of these railways is not acceptable.
And he doesn't sound a goddamn thing like Hitler either, which is highlighted because at one point in like some 80-yard dialogue or something like that.
They show real Hitler?
They show and play a clip of the actual Hitler. And it's like, that voice is so different.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like this Hitler, but
so,
whatever.
I did think, like, Hitler asked, why do the flak guns not work? Or whatever.
Do they not work?
Yeah, why do they not work? And then the explanation the guy gives is like, well, he's like, the railroad was destroyed here and here and here, and flak towers were deployed here, here, and here. And I was like, okay.
So why don't they work?
I don't know. Like, it's a non-explanation. I was like, God damn it! Like,
We've all been in that meeting with that guy who won't answer the question.
So maybe if we go back to my initial question,
right.
Dummkopf. That's not the right word.
The colonel has left his briefcase and he like makes up an excuse like, oh, I have to go take a call or something. So he excuses himself from the meeting, and apparently this is really how it happens, I guess.
Some guy trips on the briefcase.
Right, the guy who tries to explain what the deal is with these flak guns, like, kicks it, and then they're like, oh, we should get this out of the way, and they pass it all the way down the table and put it under the table.
And it's like a heavy wooden table.
This is a big table. So now it's like, oh shit, what do we do? So Max starts like walking around slowly, very suspiciously.
Yeah.
Why didn't you just like do it more casually? Like, oh, I want to get a look at the map, like from over here. But anyway, everyone's like, what's up? And then the bomb goes off.
As he goes to like dive,
and he starts running to get it.
Right.
Here's my question about this. Mac is immortal. So maybe because he's a spy, he has other things. Like, this is important. Killing Hitler is very important.
Sure.
He's immortal. If they, like, catch him and execute him, why doesn't he just kill Hitler himself once he knows this bomb's not going to work?
Well, I guess he doesn't have a knife or a gun, because that's the reason they needed the bomb. I think they make mention that, like, no guns are allowed in Hitler's presence.
Right.
So the best choice he has, like, I don't know, why isn't Mac just holding the briefcase the whole time?
Yeah, why does he just hold
and
the
then
briefcase and just stand
throw it
behind
in
them?
Hitler's face or hug him or something?
Right.
I don't know. Yeah, I suppose so.
Because I'm just like, they're not going to, like, chop his head off. I mean,
right.
They'll catch him probably.
Yeah,
definitely.
But, like, they'll shoot him. They'll, like,
yeah.
And then he'll revive and whatever. I don't know. I just was like, hey, Mac, you could
try a little harder to kill
actually
Hitler next
do this,
time. Yeah,
probably.
Right. So this is a pretty cool shot. Like, the whole place explodes, and Ingrid is like just smoking a cigarette.
This is
out
a
front.
great shot.
I was like,
This feels
she's
like a
playing
very
it so cool.
action movie.
Yeah,
thing.
it was great.
The shots of Hitler are good, where he's like in front of this big fireplace.
Yeah.
Like, I thought those were cool.
And
I
this-
do not like Hitler's performance.
No.
It's very cartoony.
And then the dialogue he's saying is bananas.
Also, this whole set is reused the
Right,
Peruvian
from-
temple from Littleton God, which is pretty cool, I thought.
I did kind of think that he seemed like a Nazi in that, so it works out.
Little Hitler.
People now start stumbling out of this bunker. Ingrid's like, oh, shit. And there comes Hitler. And so she
does
pulls
he
a gun, and Eamon, do you want to do the honors of...
Yes. So he's like,
The hand of God himself protects the Führer.
and he just says
He
that
said
42
10
times. Yeah.
He
I am invincible.
He
says
literally
that.
says that.
he quotes M. Bison from Street Fighter.
Yeah. Or the guy from GoldenEye.
Oh, that's right.
Alan Cumming.
Alan
Cummings.
Also a Boris.
That's yeah. I am invincible. And he just
I forgot
keeps
all about
on
that.
saying the hand of God protects the Führer.
I thought
hand
this
of
was
God
effective.
himself.
Like, I mean, this is like crazy. Like, it's just like
so amped up.
Yeah.
And she's like got the gun pointed at him and can't do it.
I don't know.
I guess.
How do you feel about that? I mean, it's hard to kill somebody. I've never been in this position.
I probably couldn't kill somebody,
but it's
unless
Hitler.
they were like trying to kill me.
Right.
I wish like a guard had interposed himself or something between Hitler and her. Like she has to kill somebody who's not literally history's most reviled man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in order to get the job done, and
Right.
she hesitates, or just make this scene faster. Like
Right.
she hesitates
Just for a second.
just for a second. Like we don't. He doesn't need to say it 10 times.
Right.
Like he can say this line once.
Yeah.
She can be like, and then get shot.
Right.
Like it literally looks like she sits there for like a minute
Right.
straight. Like, what do I do?
And if anything, I feel like him shrieking that the hand of God
Right.
protects him would like help to dehumanize him a little bit.
Yeah, right.
'Cause
Yeah,
it's
like, I
like,
feel
oh,
like
this
I-
person's clearly insane.
I could shoot someone under those circumstances. Like,
Who is like shrieking at you.
yeah, nuts.
Or what if they had a scene where like she's looking at him and then it like looks like her dog when she was a little girl or something, and that's why she hesitates.
yeah, because her dog was like,
Her
I am
dog has, like,
invincible.
a little Hitler mustache or
Right.
something. But she blames herself for not taking the shot, as it were.
I mean, I will say it is not her fault that the bomb didn't work. It kind of is her fault that she didn't kill Hitler in this instance, right?
Well, that's why she's haunted. By
Yeah,
it.
exactly. I mean,
Yeah. The Haunted. That was another episode.
that's right.
Yeah,
It's all tied
That's why
together.
she's haunted by the ghost of Hitler.
Yeah.
Right.
Who's like pointing at her to Mac.
So we now cut back to the present. We're resuming the previous scene. Like you said, Kyle, she blames herself for not killing Hitler. But Mythos brings up some interesting kind of...
He's just like, fuck this woman. He's like, oh, you're buying into this melodrama? Like,
Well, he's like, nobody can change history. That's his thing. He's like, not one person can never impact history the way you think they can. And
And he says it's the ultimate in arrogance.
right. He argues that, like, well, you know, if you had killed Hitler, would that have changed anything? Like, well, what if we wanted to kill him in 43, like Rommel wanted? Like, that could have actually been worse. Like, Rommel could have won the war because of that. Who's to say?
yeah, and it's like interesting.
He also says the zeitgeist of the time, like, is what produced Hitler. So if it wasn't Hitler, it would have been somebody else. But Matt counters, like, but it was Hitler. So
Yeah, which is like interesting because there's always like this debate, especially among like the way you teach history of like there's kind of like this great person theory of history
Yeah.
of like you learn about specific iconic figures as though like they literally sculpted history out of clay. And that's kind of like this debate that they're having here, which is interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, in some ways.
It is. He says, history makes men McLeod, men don't make history. Which is an interesting quote. I don't know if I agree with it.
I think I actually agree to a large extent with that quote. But then I think there are definitive moments where things happen or don't happen. You know, moments like, would the American Revolution have happened without George Washington? Yes.
Right.
Would the person who led the Continental Army have pulled a Napoleon after that if it wasn't George Washington? Maybe.
yeah, maybe, right.
Like, maybe. Like, I don't know. I think like the wide trajectories of things are probably consistent. But then there's like individual inflection points that matter. That's my take. Not that anyone should give a shit about it.
One take we don't get to hear is Joe, because they're like, hey, Joe, you're a historian. What do you think? And he's like, I'm out of this.
Yeah, I was like,
I'm
fuck
not
you, Joe.
involved.
That made me so mad.
And then Mac, as his friend, remember Mac, they're best friends, is like, you're a coward. Like, and he says it so seriously.
Who gives a damn? What matters is that it's Mac's friend.
Right, which is also an interesting point that it's this is a personal thing,
That's
not
a good point.
something about history. Yeah, there's a lot of good like little one lines here.
But then Mythos says ditto. Is he saying he's also a coward, or is he calling Joe a coward? Duncan's like coward, and then Mythos says ditto.
I think he's responding to I'm not getting into the middle of this.
And he says,
And he's like, I'm not getting in the middle of this either now. Also, the music here, by the way, I had a note about it. It's this very kind of ethereal sounding stuff with piano music kind of playing over it. I have in my notes, I think this is the best piece of music in the Highlander catalog right now.
Really?
Yeah. Maybe I shouldn't say Highlander catalog, competing with the Michael Kamen and Queen stuff, but like, of all the series stuff we've heard, like, I was like, this is really great modern sounding music.
You're forgetting something.
Oh, am I forgetting the 10,000 Year song?
Yeah, the song in the Beast Below.
Yeah.
That is a great song.
That is a great song. You're right. Max says I kind of believe in her cause, and part of me like believes she's right. Like Max conflicted like what to do in this scenario, and I don't know what made me think of this. I was like, you know what? Like, do we all like feel this way? Like, do we all want some quote unquote crazy person to do the thing that none of us want to do? I don't know. I kind of was just musing on that in my head. I was just like, oh, like Mac would never do this himself, so he says. But at the same time, he completely is like, yeah, she did this thing, and like it's not great, but I understand it. And like, I don't know, I kind of wonder sometimes if people secretly are like, these are things I could never push my own morality to do. I wouldn't want to challenge myself in that way. But like when I'm okay with other people doing it for me, though.
Oh, people, you're totally right that people do feel that way. People absolutely feel that way. That like, well, they're not going to do it, but like, they don't want to pay like the moral, personal,
the price,
physical price for it. But they're like, oh, well, if somebody else does it, you know, which is not to say that there's a difference between I get why someone's doing this and I want them to do it, which is worth noting. Like, I get why someone would want to kill this white supremacist.
But I think it's easy to say that after the fact. Like when somebody gets it done, you can be like, oh yeah, like how about that? Like, right. I don't know.
And also, it's so much easier when you're talking about someone like Hitler, where someone like you have a historical record of atrocities to lean upon,
right?
But you don't know that in vivo. Like, you don't know that Hitler is going to be Hitler versus he's going to be some rando,
just some crazy guy who
fades
popped
away,
up and disappeared.
Never even a footnote in the history book. Like, you don't know that in the moment, and that's hard.
Yeah, and that's what Ingrid's betting on, is that she doesn't care. Like, we'll take them all out.
Yeah,
like
like
there will be no more tyrants.
Killing this guy is not like killing Hitler in the Valkyrie plot. That is like an established monster,
right?
At that point, and maybe this guy is like a baby monster. I don't know, but like
baby monster.
You know what I mean? Like we're led to believe that he has in fact killed people. You know what I mean? Like
he's like a Godzuki.
Oh boy,
a what?
Godzuki. Godzilla's little baby.
I like it.
He's not a Godzilla yet,
but he's a Godzuki.
That's right.
He's more of a King Ghidorah. What's his kid's name?
Prince Ghidorah.
Prince Ghidorah, naturally.
Mythos drops a hardcore line here, I think. Like, Mac is like, oh, I don't know how to stop her or whatever. And then Mythos is like, don't you? Like, and it's like, damn.
It's like, yeah, you do know.
And then Mac is like, no, I don't. Like, I'm not going to fucking kill her over this.
Wrong. And also, just side note, I like the way this plays out in the sense that the moral tension really gets amped up by the fact that she is ultimately, we find out, going to use a bomb in this plot. And that is a wildly different thing than her shooting him during his mic check. Like, that's night and day.
Just one thing I wanted to note. There is somebody, like, cleaning up in the back while they're all talking.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It's like a woman, right?
Yeah.
I was like, what is this?
Is this person a watcher?
Yeah, who is that?
And then I'm like, that sucks that if you're a watcher, like, you also just have to, like, be the janitor at Joe's if she is a watcher.
Right, yeah, good point.
I just thought that was funny.
Yeah, who was she,
distracting.
Right? Weird. So now we cut to the dojo. Matt comes in, and he is surrounded by all these, like, cop guys wearing baseball
with their
hats.
guns drawn
right
on him.
Like, what? So they slam him up against the wall. I like the way this is shot. Like, the inspector dude's like got his little toothpick thing going, and like, but the action with Mac is all blurry in the background, and like any other director would flip it. It's like, well, the thing to watch is like Mac getting pushed, and I don't know, it's like that's the action, but we don't see that. We see it like obfuscated by the sky in the forefront, which I thought was kind of nice. And they're like, well, where is Ingrid? And Mac, I guess honestly, is like, I have no idea what's up with her. So then we cut to an interrogation room, because this time they actually finally decide to arrest Mac.
They finally do their job.
Right. Because I guess they've tracked her here and established at this point that Mac has at least helped her in some regard.
So he's lied. He's definitely obstructed justice. He has committed a crime.
Correct.
Anyway.
Another great like scene with some cool lighting. Very like it's just this spotlight. It's very noir again, dramatic stuff. And this dude calls Mac like a blind fool. I don't know. He's got like Mac.
and I'll get out of here.
Right. But he's got like Mac all figured out. He's like, oh, like was she a lover? Like an old friend? Like old friends are the worst, right? Like,
Yeah.
I know.
This guy's performance is great.
This
It's,
is
like,
a great
nuts.
character. Yeah.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then classic cop maneuver. He launches in on like the whole sympathetic, like, I'm your friend. I get this.
Right.
Like, I understand why this person's doing this thing. I get why you want to protect them.
He then tells this like story, this like monologue. I think we should listen to it because there's like some really good performances in this episode. So
Yeah,
you guys
no,
want
let's
to
do
listen
it.
to it?
Let's do it.
Once there was a writer, a poet, actually. But he lived in the dark times. Hitler, the Nazis. And soon he was afraid to stay in Germany. So he took his wife and son and escaped to Romania. He thought that they would be safe there. And for a while, they had a good life. They were happy there. Until one night when the communists broke into his house. They took him away in the dead of night and shot him for his poetry. You see, they shot my father for writing poetry, McLeod. So part of me understands Ingrid, too. A tyrant here, a dictator there. And now there is this Wilkinson, despicable. Some people might say murdering him is a community service. What would you say, McLeod?
That's really good shit. And the way it's shot is so interesting. Like there's this long shot in the middle of it as he's slowly backing away from McLeod and essentially like backing himself against the wall. And it's just like a really interesting piece of staging. I don't know. I find it really affecting.
And this guy's performance is just, as you could hear, amazing.
Yeah, it's good.
But, you know, it's working. Like, he's getting under Mac's skin, clearly.
I also like that he like his character is not black. Like he's not just the lawman following the rules. Like you can't murder. Like he gets it too. And I feel like he's a bit. Well, we'll see later. He's conflicted too about what goes down. So
It's interesting.
Yeah.
And it's also, you're not going to charge Mac. Why not?
So here's my question is, so Mac is in this, so at some point he's like, oh, your lawyer's here, like you're free to go and I wasn't going to charge you. I mean, I think he maybe just does believe that Mac doesn't know where she is, like that he's not really helping her.
Right. Well, he did help her already by lying to you about knowing her.
Okay.
So he has already obstructed justice. He could have not said anything. Instead, he chose to lie.
Sure. So
This is why you don't talk to the police.
Right, well, that's where I was going to go with this is that Mac is like, my lawyer? Like, what? And it's like, hold on, Mac. Like, you must know how serious this situation is. Like, you definitely have, like, I mean, you kind of helped her. You have lied to the police. Like, you're in a bad situation. Like, you didn't get a lawyer? / is Mac's plan to defend himself? Like, you could fucking go to jail for this.
For a long time.
And he's just like, I didn't get a lawyer. Like, you dope. Like,
And Mac definitely has a lawyer, right? I mean, he has.
I don't know. I mean, he
He's
must
got
have
the
some
money.
sort of lawyer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows? Mac's got it.
Yeah.
I could do this.
I got this. I studied
Do this.
Yeah.
I can do this.
Instead-
Mr. Mac goes to Washington.
Yeah. We come to find Mythos has committed a crime.
That's right.
By impersonating
Impersonating
a
a
lawyer.
lawyer.
Yeah.
And Mythos says, like, I got papers for everything. He's
Yeah.
like, you need me to be a law, like, it's whatever he needs. He's got some sort of document to show that he does it.
Yeah.
Which I thought was pretty funny.
Nuts.
And this is their production
Also, he doesn't even
office.
bother putting on a suit or something. He shows,
shows up in a
he shows
sweater.
up in fucking jeans.
I want a spin-off series where Mythos pretends to be a lawyer, like a sexy Mythos lawyer.
Sexy Mythos lawyer.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm down. It's just a whole series of procedurals starring Mythos.
Right.
right.
So Mac gets out. Him and Mythos are walking outside the police station, which is the production offices for the Highlander in Vancouver. And so we find out that she's committed 15 murders in the past year. So 40 years are unaccounted for. So who knows how many people she has killed.
That's a lot of people. And I guess who knows how many of these things are public, because she does mention in an earlier speech that she was like with the Mossad, she was with the CIA for a while.
Right.
Which seems like there's like a big paper trail on her, but whatever.
Yeah, so Mac is, again, maybe surprising for Mac, because usually Mac is the, like, right is right. Like, there's no gray. Like, Mac is like, well, maybe what she did was right. Like, these people deserved what they got.
Yeah, and Mythos is like, yeah, somebody else thought that too. Adolf something or other.
I don't know if that's really apples to apples necessarily.
No, I mean it's not apples to apples, but it is, I guess, always worth remembering that like most people, even villains of history, believe themselves to be doing, like, most people don't cast themselves as a villain.
Sure.
Like, they think they're doing an all right thing or a justifiable thing.
And also, I guess Mythos is like the end justifies the means, right? Like, that's what you're getting at. And it's like, well, yeah, Mac is definitely like in denial about what a lot of this shit means. And it's great because this is coming through now and is like the tag on the end of the episode, which is good. Like, Mac does not know how to process this shit.
Yeah.
So now we cut outside this hotel, and I guess this is where Wilkinson is staying. And so they've got a cop casing the place. Damon casing the place. Ooh.
Yeah.
Because I guess they expect Ingrid might show up here. So
They're right.
Yeah, so she's there out front, and the cop starts like calling into the radio, like, "Oh, we spot her," or whatever, and then she disappears, and she like sneaks up on him, and she fucking shoots him.
Why? Why did they do this? This is a real blunder in this episode, I think.
Well, this is like when they create a gray villain and then they make them do something unforgivable.
Right.
Yeah.
This
Well, I
is
think
like
it's because
that same thing.
This is like she does kill like the bodyguard in Igor's hotel room earlier, and like
Right.
presumably he's maybe an innocent. Again, who knows how much she buys and all this stuff or whatever, but like he's at least like in her way. Like, oh shit, I got to escape. This is
room.
like collateral damage.
Yeah.
But like this guy is just watching from a car, and like I don't know how killing him is making her job easier, or you know what I mean? Like there seems to be no real point in it.
There seems to be no real point. Two, unlike, the bodyguard for this guy, like guard number 3 in the wolf's den, like these people are at least in service of the thing that you hate.
Right.
This police officer, not at all in service of this guy. Probably, for all we know, he's like, fuck this guy. Probably is like that.
Hopefully.
He is just there doing his job. And by the way, his job is to like ostensibly to protect Seacouver. Like,
Right.
She chooses to kill a good guy for reasons unknown to me.
Yeah.
And if
Or at least
any-
a presumably good guy.
If anything, wouldn't this bring more heat on her because
Yes.
she killed a fucking police officer?
No, every
Actually,
police
maybe
officer
that's-
in Seacouver is going to be hunting for her.
Is
Yeah.
that perhaps, I never thought about it till now, like, is that supposed to actually mirror what Mac's actions were? Like, they've reversed a little bit. Like, Mac took a drastic action in 1935 to beat up the brown shirts.
At least those are bad guys, though.
Well, yeah,
Right.
but they, like, the idea was, like, well, that might have been bad because you were bringing more heat on us. Like, they're just going to send more brown shirts next time.
Yeah.
And it's like, is that what she's doing here? Like, anybody who's in my way, like, I'm just going to take them out and not really think about, like, the big picture here.
Yeah, it's confusing because also, like, Mac just beat those guys up.
And also, it makes it just very clear that, like, she is a fallen version of something.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, she has, like, somewhat persuasive moral arguments for most of what she does that you can, like, sort of sink your teeth into. This is just like, well, okay, you really are a fanatic. Like, you really are someone who maybe doesn't value human life. Like, you are on a vengeance quest.
Do you think they need this scene at all? Like, I'm thinking about, again, the end of the episode, like, there are other reasons to stop her because there's a room full of people.
Yeah, no, this
like,
is,
you don't need this thing.
Is wholly unnecessary
Yeah.
and undercuts, like, the core of this thing. Because I immediately turn on her when this happens.
Yeah.
Like, and I cease buying the other things she's doing. I don't think that she's actually... she's trying to slay her own demons, not these people. And that's all she really cares about.
Right. So now we cut to the Dobro, and Mac is in his office, and the inspector is explaining to Mac, like, what happened. Like, oh, she killed somebody. And Mac is like,
I don't believe it.
that's not possible. She would never do something like this. This is very sad. Like, Mac is realizing, of course, that his friend, as you said, Kyle, is, like, completely fallen. Like, so then he plays for her, like, the radio transmission. I thought this was great. And I love the focus shot they do. Like, the tape recorder's in focus, and then you hear the gunshot. And right on the gunshot, the camera focuses on Mac's face to see his reaction.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
No, that's great. It's so dark. Like, real twist for this character. And Mac looks just, like, so personal. Like, Adrian Paul's performance throughout this episode is pretty good. And he just looks, like, so personally betrayed by this.
Yeah. To continue our conversation from the last scene, like, about, like, is this a natural progression for this character? Like, I guess it depends on how she sees these people. Like, if they're in her way or not, the question, like, David Abramowitz poses, well, the question of this episode, is it worth it to kill one person to save 1,000? Or is it worth it to kill 10 people to save 1,000? Like, for her, it's like, innocent or not, if I have to kill some innocent people to stop this monster, like, if she just sees everything as just, I don't know, numbers, Is it worth it? The thing that I guess is problematic is he's not really in her way. That's the problem.
Well, there's a few problems with it. One, he's not really in her way. Two, there's no reason to think that this is imminent. This is not like her in a moment being like, this guy's about to do something awful.
That's
If
true.
I don't stop him imminently and pay whatever price it takes to stop him, some imminent misfortune is going to befall people.
Right.
This is her like, I have a theoretical hunch
Right.
that in the future, this guy will make the world a much worse place.
Right. No, that's true.
And that's not an ironclad premise to begin with. So for her to kill this guy really messes up the moral calculus.
Sure. Yeah, she could
You
just
know,
do this next week.
It is a logical progression for a character to be like, this person gets so mixed up in their own head that they're willing to pay any price to do it.
Right.
Like, that is a version of a character, and it's maybe a version that could be interesting in some sense.
Yeah.
But it's
I
just
think that's
not-
what I was thinking. It's
it's
like,
just
yeah,
not-
some version of this does make sense.
But
Like,
it's
I
just
can
not
see how
the
someone arrives to this conclusion.
Yeah, but it just like doesn't land well, and it cheapens the very interesting moral discussion that happens elsewhere. Because like she needs to be taken to task for this.
So now we cut back outside that same hotel, and we get Wilkinson's fucking dilapidated van with a sticker on it that says his name. This is how he rides.
Yeah, this just like makes him look penny ante. Like,
Yeah, right, yeah.
That's part of the core problem of this thing. It's
Yeah.
like, this guy does seem like a small fry.
like I want him to
down.
pull up in a limo and have like guys with sunglasses,
Yeah.
or like guys with armbands or something.
Yeah,
just a little more threatening.
Right.
Yeah, this guy. I mean, this guy literally just looks like shit. Like he looks like he's nobody.
Yeah, right.
And then somebody else that looks like shit approaches.
That's right. So we get
his van.
this shot from, I guess, behind Ingrid. She's dressed as like an old woman.
Like a bag lady.
A bag lady, right?
Yeah.
And so she thinks Wilkinson is there. It's a ruse,
And lo, it is full of cops.
it is full of cops. So they've captured her in some terrible old lady makeup. In this situation, she decides to turn her gun on the lead inspector, and he shoots her.
I think it's to get them to shoot her. I don't know if she actually intends to shoot him.
Oh, interesting.
Well, that was at least how I interpreted it. Because like, what's she gonna do? Shoot all 10 of these guys? Like,
I don't know. But I guess, I mean,
Right.
she's killed that one cop. Why not kill another? I thought she was going to kill one of them.
interesting.
Huh. So he shoots her dead, and he's like, what a waste. So now we cut back to Joe's, and Mac is there drinking with the inspector. And this is another pretty great scene, I
This
thought.
is super noir. The cop seems more haunted by this than Mac.
But I don't think we mentioned earlier, the cop is always like fiddling with a toothpick. And he's like,
Yeah.
he makes some comment like, this is my last, like, this is the only vice I have left, just a toothpick. But in this scene, he has lit up a cigarette.
Yeah.
Which is good. And the line he gives, like, is something along the lines of, like, you know, he takes a puff and he's like, I think, like, maybe if I die a little now, like, God and I will be even for what I've just done.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit.
shit,
Like,
that's great.
a standing ovation for that line. That's really good.
Also, that takes like a light touch to deliver. Like, lots of people delivering that line, it would have sounded terrible. Like,
Right, really cheesy.
but something to do with like maybe it's just like the way it's staged and his accent and delivery. It just like
Yeah, it's good. And so then the inspector also says, you know, when I was a boy, I thought everything was black and white. And now I realize that it's nothing but gray, which is another good line and perhaps the thesis of this show practically.
Yeah.
But he says he's sorry for killing his friend, which, Eamon, to pick up on your trail of breadcrumbs from previous episodes, Richie says that exact same line in
right.
Haunted.
Yeah.
A couple episodes ago. I'm sorry I killed your friend.
Yeah.
But Mac is like, you didn't kill my friend.
I don't know who this
I
person
don't know,
was.
which is
Yeah.
harsh, but like,
Yeah.
this is fucking good.
This
Like
is
this
very
episode
dark.
keeps hitting all these sweet
Yeah.
spots. But yeah, at this point, the inspector is worried as well. Like he understands what her plight was. Like this guy could become your president. Coffee already did, and you know, what have I done? Perhaps
Not like these.
not
Not like
like
these.
these. So Max says he would have made the same choice though. So he's kind of figuring some stuff out. So now we cut to the rally. This fucking guy Wilkinson is like, they call me a racist because I have the guts to tell the truth. I was like, God damn it. I hear this line on the news too.
Yeah. And by the way,
I'm
this
just telling it like it is, guys.
It turns into a Tea Party rally because like we're taxed enough already.
Yep.
Yeah.
It does.
People often forget that is what T and Tea Party stands for.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Tax party?
What's that?
Tax party?
No, sorry, T.
As in like the tea.
Well, it's like
Boston
a play
Tea
on
Party.
Yeah, well, the joke is Boston Tea Party, but the reason they chose those letters was because it was taxed enough already.
Oh.
You're welcome.
Interesting. How about that? I always thought it was Mr. T related.
Yeah, it's actually Mr. I pity the
We
fool.
pity these fools.
I gotta treat my mother right.
Yeah. I love that. Everyone go Google Mr. T's like Mother's Day song. It's the shit.
It's not just a song. It's a 45-minute video. It's a lot more about moms.
Yeah. Mr.
And also,
T
who
loves
wrote
moms?
And who wrote "Treat Your Mother Right"?
Who?
Ice-T, another T.
Oh man,
Ice-T.
the T's unite.
Wow.
They hired him in his fledgling days as a rapper, and we're like, we need you to write Mr. T raps. And
And he's like, okay, how many cops get killed in this song? Can I say the N-word?
Be somebody or be somebody's fool.
that's right. So this guy is like all this fear mongering shit, which is like again troubling to watch because it's
terrible. And
timely.
It's like
He's like, oh, everything
still
like,
relevant.
there's hoodlums and crackheads, and he's like, you guys are true Americans. Like the idea that like some people aren't real fucking Americans. Yikes, scary. So anyway, Mac is like scoping the place out, and he can't figure out. Oh, he also sees fucking Wilkinson's face turn into Hitler. I was like, no, thanks.
No,
Don't
that's
like that.
too much. Bridge too far.
I would have been fine if there was like some audio over it. I don't know. Sometimes these, when they do too many like weird video effects, I'm just like, no thanks. But then Mac realizes like, oh shit, this is a bomb plot. Hashtag bomb plot.
Hashtag bomb plot.
So Mythos is with him.
Oh right,
For
yes.
reasons.
Where does he go?
I don't know.
Why
'Cause
does he go?
He could have helped. In
Also,
this
like Mac
scenario.
realizes it's a bomb plot, but doesn't
Pull
like
the
why-
fire alarm?
Yeah, like why doesn't he pull the fire alarm? Why doesn't he like see that? Oh shit, the bomb is. It's got to be that briefcase, right? I mean, that's
Yeah.
the idea. Is like they use the same briefcase.
It's a bomb.
Right? Like, but he doesn't do anything. Like, why does he
Pull a
think?
Captain America and jump on the bomb?
Sure. Like, but he doesn't think like, why isn't this on a timer, not a trigger? Like, he just assumes she's going to trigger this bomb, rather than like, we got to get everybody out of here before it just blows
Blows up, yeah. In 2 minutes and 36 seconds.
Also, why didn't Ingrid just blow it up as soon as he got over to the
Yeah, what is she waiting
Yeah,
for?
what are you waiting for?
Bizarre.
Anyway.
She's waiting for like the apex of his speech.
Yeah, right. To
How
really make a
bizarre.
splash.
She's like, I had to make it dramatic.
Mac gets the buzz and runs
Yeah.
outside.
Also, we do get like a cut. Also, this is where Hitler's voice appears, like that it's imposed over his speech,
Right.
But it's not actor Hitler's voice.
No, it's
It
real
is
Hitler.
historical recordings, and I'm like, huh, weird choice.
Yeah.
there because they don't sound alike.
I don't mind it too much. It's like, it's okay.
Well, we'll talk
I don't know
about
if I
what
mind.
happens
Hold
later.
on. I should just say,
I don't mind Hitler's speech.
yeah, that's right. I just meant I don't mind that they use the real Hitler voice as opposed to the actor Hitler voice.
'Cause
I'm not
the actor
necessarily
Hitler-
making a comment though on the fact that they use a bunch of Hitler footage in this episode. I don't know how I feel about that. We'll get to it though. So Mac runs outside, out the back,
Not like this.
and he goes, "No, like this." Just his other catchphrase.
Switch APOC.
Don't do this.
Don't do this.
Don't do this. So Jesus Christ, this is a scene. I thought.
Yeah,
In the middle of the-
They
This
have
is a scene.
a very Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker-esque.
Oh, right. Mac has the
debate.
high ground. He's up
Yeah.
on a crate of apples or something. But yeah, like they're both like like Mac looks fucking AP, I think, crushes it in this
Yeah.
episode. Like he is able to communicate how torn up he is about this issue and like that his friend has fallen and like he knows what might need to happen, that he's been in denial since basically the beginning about. Like Mythos was like, you know how to stop her, and he's like, no. And at this point he's like, no, I have to do this. So they get into some arguing about like, well, what's different? Like we killed those German soldiers. Was that wrong? Like I killed the cop. I think that's the
well, he's like, you killed the cop. It's like innocence. She's the rise. Innocence is relative,
right.
because he's like, you're gonna kill all those innocent people, and she's basically like, fuck those people.
Well, yeah, that's the bigger argument is that like, well, it's just a room full of racist assholes. So like, is it really that bad?
But he's like, that was war. Like killing soldiers is different than killing a room full of innocent people.
Perhaps.
And you don't have a license to kill racists.
Right.
I have had the misfortune of interacting with a lot of racists in my day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, of course. As have we all.
I guess so.
Yeah, including the most popular brand of I'm not racist, but it's like there's no open hunting license on these people.
Right.
Like these are,
Right.
You can't blow up any racist you want.
yeah.
No.
And like
No.
surely the attendees at this rally are probably a bunch of like misguided, desperate, misogynistic dopes.
Yes. So then we get the big question because he's like, you have no right to kill them. And then she's like, well, what right do you have to kill me? It's like, oh, fuck, mind fuck.
Yeah, no, that's intense because in some ways he's using a similar logic to her. He's
Right.
like, she's like, I will kill the people in this room, presumably, in the hopes that it will save thousands of people in the future. And he's like, I will kill you to save the dozens of people in that room.
Yeah, it's really like, fucked up. It's like, oh shit.
The absence of the killing of that cop. But like, just suck that out of the episode.
I think you could even leave it. I don't think it's that ridiculous. Like, I can see how that happens. It's certainly not the equivalent she paints it as. Like, well, what's the difference between me killing the cop and you killing those German soldiers? Like, it falls apart. That doesn't work. But I think it's like, I don't know. It doesn't pull me completely out of the episode.
What gives Mac very good reason to stop her.
Right.
That's the thing that, like, at least in terms of, like, his action, not in terms of, like, the actual moral dilemma that they set up, but I think this might be the most deftly executed moral dilemma that this show has ever had. Do we have any other contenders for that?
It's perfectly integrated too, which I like.
Yeah, it's
like
not,
this isn't like we had a conversation and then somebody does shitty things and now we fight. Like, it is all intertwined. Like, I don't know, it's great.
Yeah, the moral question is the action.
Yeah,
and that's hard to do, and it's well done. Like, I feel like Star Trek often, like, even in great episodes, has this notion where, like, there's an issue and people just kind of sit around a table and then they go decide to do something.
I mean,
and,
that's
like,
not too dissimilar from their discussion in Joe's. Being like,
no,
hey, what's
but
this?
you don't get, like, this perfect moment where the two come together, where, like, action is going on, the debate is ongoing, and somebody makes a call in real time. Like, even in great Star Trek episodes, that doesn't always happen.
Sure.
Even as a show that's like the cornerstone of it. Like, you know, this is a gem.
Yeah,
it's good.
This whole scene.
So she raises the trigger. She's about to push the button.
Also, this is so heartbreaking when she's like, if we fight, you're going to beat me. I'm not going to waste time.
Yeah.
But, like, you're going to have to kill me and your unarmed friend to pull this off. So
Yep.
are you willing to pay the price? I was just like, fuck. Because, like, Mac, pull a sword on Mac, like, sometimes you've just thrown your life away. Like, he'll totally just take you down, cousin Robert.
Cousin Robert.
Well, he's like the ultimate warrior, McLeod. He's training every day. Like, he knows how to use every weapon. He has bombs and guns at his disposal, apparently. Like, if I was an immortal bad guy, I would be like, fuck Duncan McLeod. Like, I'm out. Like, that motherfucker killed like 60 people in the last like 2 years.
Yes,
right.
Exactly. And like, which is because they all seem to know him. They're like, oh, what's up, Highlander? It's like, okay, you know him, so you know you shouldn't fuck with him.
Right.
And this is great because she knows. She's like, you know, this is not a fight, it's a choice.
So what happens, Kyle? What choice does he make?
She lifts up that trigger and he cuts her fucking head off.
Yep. Yeah, the dickhead in me was like, why'd he cut her hand off? But
I thought that too,
okay.
but
no. But I get what the point is.
But that's a serious point to bring up. Why didn't he just cut her hand off? I mean, honestly,
like he could have stopped her. Like, he could have done it all. Stopped her and saved the people.
And in some ways, I have to imagine her, well...
And she'd be alive.
Like, her finger wouldn't be able to instinctively still push the button, would it? After,
I mean,
maybe
so.
If the like, I don't know.
I think I think she'd be able to push the detonator even when Mac tried to kill her.
Yeah, it's not a gun,
right? She's
slow.
Yeah.
What if her body like fell on the detonator and it still exploded?
The quickening sets off the bomb.
Oh God, what an ending that would be! Holy shit!
We're not supposed to think about
now.
That,
That's Mac's fault.
Yeah,
because you can't change history, Mac.
Right.
It's not one person.
I just thought he could have cut her hand off, right?
Yeah.
But anyway,
so now let's talk about this quickening.
You kind of aren't supposed to think about it because, again, he needs to take multiple steps toward her and swing a sword.
Yeah.
She has to push a button. She can obviously do that before he even takes a step.
Right.
Like, so the whole choice is somewhat
symbolic.
Yes, the whole choice is somewhat artificial.
Right.
But.
So how's this quickening go down? Okay, you guys don't like it.
No, of course not.
I don't know.
Of course not.
Do you like it?
You know this.
I was like, I don't know. It's dramatic.
It's
what
too
what
much.
don't you like about it? There is a lot going on here.
I don't. If they didn't have the song, I would hate
the
it.
Hallelujah.
Let's talk about the song. Yeah, what is the song?
Is it the Ride of the Valkyrie or whatever?
Oh, that'd be a good one to play. No, it's the
it's the
Hallelujah
chorus,
chorus.
which is the weirdest choice.
Yeah, why is it the Valkyrie song? That would be weird, maybe.
I don't know.
Two on the nose.
Sure.
The whole choice is weird.
So then we also now get a video montage of like
Nazi Germany stuff.
and Wilkinson together.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't need this, and it's strange because it's like another one of those moments. Like, are you having like quickening memory transfer, or what is this?
I kind of wondered that. I was like, yeah, is this a quickening memory transfer, or is this the show
His,
breaking the fourth wall and making commentary about, like, is this the show doing this, not the action of the episode? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That there's a difference?
If they just did a different song, I don't think I'd mind this as much.
Well, the song took me right the hell out of it.
I don't want to miss a thing by Aerosmith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If that was
I miss you, baby, but I don't want to miss a thing.
I just assumed it would be the Crossfire theme. By which I mean that
caught up in the
Crossfire.
where two children are transported into a vicious hellscape to play
a game with ball bearings.
Yeah, and they're in like leather Mad Max outfits,
That's right.
and there's flames. And I'm presuming the child that loses Crossfire dies.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
falls
loses
like,
his
the lava.
Crossfire pit, like floating disc.
Yeah.
I don't 100% mind this. I appreciate. Maybe it's also
What
just
percentage do you mind it?
1%, baby.
Ooh, the
Hashtag
1%.
Hashtag 1%.
My favorite percentage.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I don't hate this for some weird reason.
I
don't love it, though. I don't
like
love it.
something you'd hate.
I know, right? Weird. Maybe I was caught up in the episode. Caught up in the crossfire.
The Crossfire.
I think like the quickening itself is cool.
Yeah.
Just the song takes me out of it.
Yeah, maybe
like
the
I
song
don't
with
see
no-
where
or
it
the-
fits. You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like
It is a weird song choice. I couldn't figure out why was this song
It's such a
chosen.
triumphant thing.
Yeah, to me, that's-
and then
it's
it's
positive,
juxtaposed against like these awful images that are supposed to make you, I guess, second. Are you supposed to make you second guess Mac's decision? Is that why this is happening?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah, good point.
Because if
now
the-
it's like showing like, no, this is
it's
just like Hitler.
foreshadowing
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
Huh.
But so then, if that's what it's doing, why is the Hallelujah chorus playing?
Yeah, write us in, listeners, and tell us what you think of this particular moment. Like, what does this mean to you? Is there some significance? I don't know. Maybe we should look at it again at some point and just like ponder
Are we missing something? Because this feels.
Are any of the lyric choices in Beethoven's Ninth related to this in any way? Like the verse they chose? I mean, it's in German. Is actually, by the way, I forgot to
isn't-
notice,
wait,
is this an English language version?
Wait, isn't the Hallelujah chorus Hayden? Is it the Hallelujah chorus?
I think it's Ode to Joy. Bum, 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 bum,
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Oh, then it is Ode to Joy.
Ode to
Sorry.
Joy. Yes, sorry. Clarified.
Yes, it is not Hallelujah chorus. That is my mistake.
But is I
Ode to
can't remember if the
Joy.
lyrics they're singing are the English version or the German version. Like,
I'm
did
pretty
they
sure
just like,
it's
what's
the-
a
it's
what's
the
a famous
German.
German song? Like, let's
Yeah.
pick this
I'm
poem.
pretty sure it's the
They
German.
just sing O Tannenbaum.
Merry Christmas. Also, write into us where you think
99
Mythos
Luftballons.
went during all this.
Right. He's getting into it. Maybe it's like, this guy's got something.
Yeah, because it's like interesting. Elixir.
Maybe this is what inspires him in the next episode. He's like, you know what? I could swing this way a bit.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Jews.
so to cap this scene off, Kyle's losing it right now. Very good. So to cap this off, Mac picks up Ingrid's body, carries her away,
Her
and now we get a
headless
VO.
corpse.
Her headless corpse.
If
And-
you get the chance, go back and watch the recording that we did of at the 25th anniversary gathering of
The Highlander
Leigh
Convention.
Boris discussing this scene with
Oh,
Richard
yeah.
Martin.
Right, at the director's panel we filmed.
And he's like, what the fuck?
What the fuck is this? Nobody asked anything about this shit until you came.
Come on.
What happens to the body and the head?
Yeah, because this is indeed seems to be the first time we get a treatment of the body by Mac as
Right.
he carries her headless corpse away from this garbage alley. Presumably not her head, though.
Yeah,
Right,
so
gotta go back for the
maybe
head.
Mythos gets the head.
Yeah.
But
And I'll form the, head.
dun, 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 dun. Voltron.
And then we get a VO of the inspector once again saying, you know, when I was a child, it was all black and white, but now it's gray. I personally love this. I had not seen this episode in a very long time, and so my last exposure to this scene was literally Clay Barr saying, like, what the fuck, man? Like, why did you bring this up? It's a fantasy show, just forget it. Like, the swords come from who knows where. It doesn't matter. And I was like, wow, maybe it is really silly. I thought it was great. I love that he picked her up.
It's a great image. It's
Yeah.
this is just like, don't think about it. It works
And it does make sense in this instance. Like, everybody thinks she's dead.
already. Yeah.
Right.
So, like,
Until they find her head in that alley.
right, until they
In the
find her
left of her
head.
head.
So, if that same detective finds her corpse,
Right.
that could cause some problems.
So we now cut to the route, like I don't know, outside after the rally. The cops are there. What are the cops doing there?
Well, I guess there was a
Oh, the
big
bomb?
explosion outside.
I guess
because of the
so.
quickening.
And I guess they're probably confiscating the bomb. At first I was like, oh, they're probably coming because of the murder. But no, that's probably not it.
Yeah. And also, probably a good idea to have cops on hand when a bunch of white supremacists are doing anything. So.
Sure.
Yep. That's a good point.
There's a bunch of people outside congratulating Wilkinson on his good speech, great speech, great speech. You know, Mythos ends up joining up with Mac. The moon is in the sky. It looks very nice. And so, yeah, now we get some, like, fucking heavy shit.
As Mythos just makes his friend feel even worse.
Yep. So Mac is like, well, what is the difference between what I did and what she wanted to do? And Mythos is like, oh, it's the chicken or the egg thing or whatever. And Mac is like, well, do you mean there's like no answer here? And Mythos basically gives him an answer, which is like, I don't know if you're ready for the answer, which I think means there is no difference between what you did and what she did. And then Mac asks, he's like, well, I love this. Mythos goes on to be like, you know, Hitler did what he did, like you guys judged him. Then Igor did, or I guess it's Igor. Igor did what he did. She judged him. Wilkinson did shit. She was judging him, and then you judged Ingrid.
Yeah, and then
who judges me?
and he's just like, good question.
Good question. Let's get food.
Yeah.
Which is great.
That is something that's kind of interesting. That Mythos, obviously, he's like they present him like he's kind of like this young snarky kid, but his wisdom, insofar as you can call it that's like always being interjected, is basically like this point of like, oh no, you will never figure this out, and the answer doesn't matter. He's almost got like not quite an amoral perspective, but he's just like, you aren't going to do it. The thing, like, you are not important. Your decisions do not matter. Let it go. And that's like his kernel of wisdom that he's constantly introducing to the thing. And it's interesting that the mouthpiece for that is the 5,000-year-old man.
Yeah. I like that he doesn't underestimate Mac. He's just kind of like, you know what's going on here.
Yeah, because he knows the whole time.
Yeah.
And like, you know, people who just like kind of live in bad faith and don't want to face, like, even including Mac, don't want to acknowledge this kind of stuff. It's like,
Right.
Mac, you're asking these questions because you know, not because you want the answer, but because you know the answer.
Yeah.
And you're just like looking for a way out. Like, you're looking for a way out of a hard truth.
And this happens in the next episode, which we'll talk about as well, because this theme, I think, has continued a little further when,
Yeah.
you know, people have to question their own actions and, again, how you judge people. So that is this episode.
You guys want to lighten the mood of the game?
Game time.
All right, we are going to play a little game that we actually haven't played in a while. It is called IMDb Keywords.
Oh, I have this prepared for a later game, too.
Oh no!
Oh, boy.
I was surprised to hear that. Anyway, in any case, the way this game works is I'm going to read a series of actual keywords from the website Internet Movie Database in order from least specific to most specific to the, but let me phrase that. Most identifiable to the episode to least identifiable to the episode. You'll each get one guess per clue that I read off, but I'm not going to wait very long for you guys to like think of one. So be quick. Most of them have 7 possible clues, and you will get basically 1 point for each clue I haven't given yet.
Right.
So if you get it on the last clue, it's only worth 1 point. If you get it on like a really dumb early clue, like 1800s, you'll get
more points.
You'll get 7 points. Are you ready?
Ready.
You're trying to guess the episode. All right. First clue: 18th century. 1780s. English nobility. Somerset, England.
The vampire.
Duchess.
Leader of the pack.
Yes.
Fuck you.
Leader of the pack.
Dick fuck.
That was worth.
You mean Dick Tiger?
Yeah.
Dick Tiger.
Or Dick Tiger over here.
Tiger.
Tiger.
All right. That's 3 points for Keith.
Good job, Keith D.
Question the second. 19th century. 1830s. Megalomania.
The Valkyrie.
Reference to Satan.
Littleton God.
Yes. Damn it. That is another
Megalomania.
3 points for Keith. The other clues would have been reference to God, God complex.
Ooh, reference to God.
Yeah. Natives.
Natives.
All right. Question the third. 19th century. 1810s. Ready for this one? Priest. Next one. Catholic priest. Those are separate IMDb keywords.
Brothers in Arms.
Murder of a priest. Female teacher. Murder of a teacher.
Legacy?
Montana. Cross.
Cross of St. Antoine?
Yes.
Damn it.
Keith. That was worth only 1 point.
Wow.
Because you got it on the final one.
There was a Catholic. Oh, I guess there was when they were baptized. Yeah, he got murdered. Forgot about that.
I'm pretty sure he murders multiple Catholic
Who's
priests
the
in that.
female teacher in?
The female teacher who tries to teach him to read, and then he murders
That's
her.
right.
Oh, right.
In my head, I'm thinking like Amanda,
Like an immortal
ally.
ally.
Exactly.
Yeah. Nope. Teacher, murder of a teacher.
All right.
Priest, Catholic priest, murder of a priest.
I was thinking of when Darius says a Catholic priest. Do you remember
Sometimes being a Catholic priest is harder than other times.
that? Yeah. Like when I have to touch the little children.
Boy.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Edit that out. Or not. I don't know.
Third question. You still have time to make this up.
I don't think I do.
Well, mathematically you do. Whether you do in reality, only you can answer that.
The reality stone.
Yeah. You need the reality stone in order to do this.
That's right.
Question the fourth. 17th century. 1660s. Inner demons.
It's Glass Starkly.
Hidden agenda.
Ooh.
Witch hunt.
Oh, fuck.
Prophecy.
Paranormal.
Shadows.
Yes.
Shadows. Because there is a literal witch burning in that, right?
That's right.
Yes.
Or not a literal witch burning, because the woman's not a witch. Or the man, or whoever it is.
Right.
Garrick, the ghost of Christmas future.
All right. It is currently 4-7 in
Ooh.
favor of Keith. So this is the last big one
Uh-oh.
to pull it off.
Are there
Let's
smaller
see.
ones after this?
There's one baby one
Oh,
to follow.
okay.
Baby demon, or
That's
baby
right.
baby monster.
monsters. Baby monsters.
17th century. 1660s. Normandy. Love triangle. Possessiveness.
Immortal Chimoli.
Obsession.
Possessive love.
Till death.
Reluctance to kill. Female painter.
Oh,
Oh, chivalry.
damn it.
Yes. That was worth 2 points for Keith.
Normandy. Where are they in Normandy?
Sealing the win. I think that's where she lives.
France.
Did they say that? I guess they did.
I think in the...
Maybe.
Maybe they did.
I don't remember. Wow.
Either
how
way,
about
it's
that?
an IMDb keyword.
That's cool. That's cool.
That's cool. They were in Normandy? Ooh.
Yeah. And this will be a last one for fun.
Because I
Amen.
lost.
This one's for honor. You know what? I was only going to read 2, but I'm going to read 4 to give you the chance to not quite tie it up, but close. 1650s. Mentor-student relationship. Companionship. And my favorite one, begging for one's life.
Hold on.
End of Innocence.
Correct.
Oh.
Excellent job. That last one was for honor,
Yeah.
and you've honored yourself.
He
Congratulations.
shamed me.
He shamed me.
Shame me.
Yeah. Unlike Duncan MacLeod, you've been honored. With a final score of 9-5, like my job,
Ooh.
Keith is the winner.
Congratulations.
Or like that Dolly Parton movie?
Yeah.
Keith. Dolly Parton. Titties.
Okay.
Jolene. Congratulations, Keith.
Thank you very much.
are
I
the
don't win
winner.
often, so that was fun. That was fun and cool, as I say.
That
Yeah.
was cool. Normandy, cool.
So before we talk about this episode, you guys want to talk about the Watcher Chronicles?
Let's do it. Ooh, what are the odds they refer to Wilkinson as a slime or something?
Oh, yeah. Occupation, slug.
Well, I did
Occupation.
not give you guys Wilkinson's Chronicles. Sorry.
He has one?
I don't know if he does. I didn't get it. I'd have to check. I apologize.
Occupation, real American.
True patriot, right? Just one Watcher Chronicle for this episode. We're going to be talking about Ingrid Henning. Imagine if there was a Hitler one for this too.
Oh, God.
Occupation bad guy.
Occupation, bad guy.
All right, Ingrid. Known alias is Rivka Wasserman.
Was that her prostitute name?
I don't know.
It doesn't really roll
or
off the tongue.
Inga Svensson or Kathy Stevens.
Kathy Stevens.
Kathy.
Chocolate, chocolate, chocolate.
Does that sound German? Exactly. Born 1830 in Berlin. First death 1859. Beaten to death by abusive husband.
Oh, boy.
Boy.
That's dark.
Yes.
Very.
First teacher Werner Tennen. Cultural affiliation German. Recent base of operation, no fixed address. Occupation assassin. And her chronicle reads, after 50 years of trying, Ingrid never believed she had atoned for her one moment of failure. 1,000 years, it wouldn't have been enough in her mind. For a century, she had kept herself apart from mortal politics, content to live her own life. Even in the early part of this century, when she traveled in the social circles of the socialists and communists, it was all an intellectual pursuit.
So wait, when that German, like when the brown shirt guy was like, this Jewish guy's run to his communist friends, he was like at least descriptively being accurate.
I guess so.
That she is in fact a communist.
Yeah, I guess so. How about that?
Fascinating. Go on.
It was all an intellectual pursuit. It had no bearing for her on her daily life. It took Hitler and the Nazis to bring her out of her warm cocoon, and make her see what was going on around her. She was convinced she had to act, but when the moment came when her action would matter the most, she found she couldn't. Her life stopped at that moment. The Ingrid that left Wolf's Lair that night no longer had a life, only a mission, to return from her inability to kill by killing. She had become a killing machine.
Oh, boy.
And she would never have killed enough to make peace with herself.
Yikes.
Yowza.
That's dark.
Very. I mean, it's a dark episode.
Yeah. So what do we think?
This is not a feel-goodery.
No.
I feel like we did a lot of substantive moral discussion kind of in the midst of this episode. But are there any depths we feel we haven't plumbed? Keith, I feel like you had a couple thoughts that you held in abeyance until the end.
Abeyance? Is that like a Beyonce thing?
Yeah.
She's great.
Oh, so a thing I was curious about earlier and wanted to pose kind of this moral question is, Mac is, of course, debating with Joe and Mythos, like, well, what do I do in this situation? Like, I kind of agree with her. I kind of don't agree with her. What about the moral stance to not take action at all?
That's a moral stance that assumes inactivity isn't an action.
Well, exactly. That's where it gets dicey. But Mac is like, am I responsible to save this person? Versus, it's like, do I act to save them? Do I act to stop her? Like, what about just not doing anything and letting the pieces, like, because obviously this is like tearing him apart. But yeah, I don't know. There's another choice, just to not do anything, which I suppose maybe is the same choice as letting her do it, or like, I don't know. But I feel like there is
well, that would appear to be the position that Mythos is advocating.
Right.
He seems to think, well, she shouldn't be doing this, but you shouldn't get involved either. Like,
yeah, I don't know. There's something that kind of give me pause.
What does that make you? That doesn't make you any different than
and indeed, the most trotted out cliche about the Nazi era is, it takes for evil to triumph is for good people to do nothing. One of the main takeaways of the Nazis is indeed that inaction is often a reprehensible moral choice.
True.
Oh, that's an interesting
a good point.
thing I didn't think about. Yeah. I feel like I side with Mac in that stopping her from blowing up this community center full of people is probably the right thing to do.
I think that's definitely the right thing to do.
Yeah.
What about,
I am not as sure when the plot was originally just I shoot this guy.
I was just going to ask, what do you feel about that?
I also think that's probably the right thing to do, but I'm like...
You think the right thing to do is to shoot the people?
No, the right thing is... I still think the right thing is to stop her, but I don't think it's... Once it's a bomb in a room full of bystanders, I don't think it's close.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, even the assassin. I mean, this guy's a bad guy. He's like clearly killed people, but he should be...
Well, our only source of information on that is Ingrid, who asserts that there are these unsolved crimes that he is connected to.
That it's most likely he did, but...
Yeah.
Because Mac asked for that. He's like, well, let's find the proof, and then...
Right. Yeah.
But that's not an option.
Unsolved mysteries, if you will.
That's right.
Right, because then it's just like... But she's not doing this because she's being a vigilante. You know what I mean? She's not trying to punish a crime.
She's on
Right.
like a crazed quest. For all we know, this guy could have a change of heart. It's probably not likely, but there have been like reformed racists.
Yeah, reformed monsters of all stripes
Right.
have come and gone throughout time.
So she's kind of making a judgment. It's just all very tricky.
Yeah. No, this is not an easy question.
This show raises so many complicated moral questions, but the ones that work are when the main characters don't treat it like it's easy.
Yeah.
Because there are a bunch of ones where it's like, wow, that's a really complicated question. And they're like, oh, I'm doing this.
Right. Yeah. Mac often is like, no, that's the wrong thing to do. And it's like,
just,
why? Why do you think that? Like,
yeah. And like, I don't know.
I mean, it might be the wrong thing. You can't be just go cavalier about like, duh. Like,
Well, then, like, the game comes into it. Well, on the end of Innocence episode, Mac is like, I have to kill what's-his-face because he shamed me.
shame me.
It's like, no, you don't.
And it's
Yeah.
like, wait a minute.
Well, also, this is a great moral question because oftentimes these moral questions are given to, Like, they're fantastical in the sense that we've taken a normal question like blind faith, like when do you forgive somebody? Which is something we all get to deal with in our day-to-day life, but we also only live so many years. And like time, like that really is factored into our perception of morality in general. It's like, well, we only exist in this reality, as it were. So everything is kind of based on how we interact with it. Whereas like now people can live 1,000 years. And so it's like, well, if we push these moral ideas to the limit, like, oh, after 1,000 years do you get to forgive somebody? It's like, oh, like, isn't that interesting? It's an interesting moral, or it's an interesting intellectual exercise, but has no real bearing on anything. I like that this is like an actual moral question that is real. Like, neither of these characters need to be mortal or immortal for this question to be relevant,
Right.
or to tackle it in the way they're tackling it right now.
The immortality piece of this is really a characterization point. It's like it's used to explain why Ingrid is so driven and why she believes the things she believes.
Right.
But it is not the underlying source of the moral conflict.
Right.
Like what episode did you just reference?
Blind
Kieran
Faith.
Cage. Blind Faith with Kieran and Cage. The immortality is a big part of the reason
They're in
for the
conflict.
complexity.
Yeah.
Is that like this man could never be punished for what he's done by any means outside the game. And there are a lot of examples like that throughout the episode. This is kind of a pure utilitarian kind of calculus that, certainly our governments make all the time.
I thought some of the special features were kind of funny. Richard Martin's quite the character. I don't know if anyone picked up this was recorded in 2003, and you can tell because Richard Martin is relaying like, oh, like, well, why is Wilkinson so dangerous? Like, you have these people, these fascists that take over, and he's like, they get you to think the way they want you to think, they make the people vote the way they want you to vote, they can get you to go to war, they can make you believe that weapons of mass and then he just goes on. It's great. It's like, oh yeah, how about that?
Oh yeah, how about that?
How about that?
Yeah.
Hey, I wish we didn't yet get lied into a war with Iran. Ba-dum-ba-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Hey, it's almost like the same cast of characters is back, trying to get us to do the exact same thing.
They all watched the episode of Highlander.
That's right. They're like, I got an idea.
Yeah. So
Anything else to say about this? I don't know. This is
I don't know. I feel like we did
We talked a lot.
We
did.
covered a lot of this stuff throughout the episode.
Yeah.
But listeners, if you think we missed something, a moral nugget that we have
Moral nugget.
that we have not excavated from the sweet, sweet earth of this episode, let us know.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot here that, I feel like, not that we didn't cover it in some sense, but you could really plumb the depths of the moral questions raised in this. In fact, when I was a philosophy major, I had to read books on subjects. Not too unlike a lot of the moral questions that are here. So this is, an unending subject for discussion in some ways.
Sure. Well, Kyle, you won the earlier catalog game, so that means you get to give your star rating first. So I will ask you, how many punches to Richard Spencer's face would you give this episode?
Ooh, that's the moral question we haven't discussed is it moral to punch a Nazi in a liberal democracy? Obviously, Ingrid thinks so.
That's right.
That's true. Yeah.
So I think that this episode, among the best moral questions that's ever been developed, interesting flashbacks, incredible performances from Mac, Ingrid, police officer whose name I can't remember. They're dynamite. And some really world-class writing on this one. So the only thing that I fault this for is I feel like with the Ode to Joy moment and the killing of the random police officer are two things that kind of take me way out of this episode. But despite that, this episode gets a 4.5.
Hey-o.
This is real essential stuff and a great introduction to friend of the pod, Richard Martin.
Absolutely.
Amen.
Yes, sir.
How many Proud Boys would you give this episode?
Oh no!
I was trying to keep current with
We're keeping with a theme here.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I want to say 0,
Right.
But I think, I think 4.5 is the way to go. There are a few things I don't like. I don't like the guy that plays Hitler.
Nope, bad.
I think that is a bad performance.
Especially because the lines are so over the top that it makes it like it really needed to be sold by someone if the lines were going to read that way. And
Right.
And he's just kind of like.
the hand of God himself
He's like the Tasmanian devil
of fascism.
of fascism. And then when he just comes out from behind a bush,
That's ridiculous.
I was like, make him pull up in a car at
Right.
least,
Ta-da.
or something. It's just like, I was back here. The other thing that makes this not a 5 for me is there's no sword fight in the episode, really.
Oh,
That's a fair
interesting.
point.
I didn't even think of it. I didn't even notice.
See, in my head, the lack of a sword fight really amps to me the emotional tension of
It
that
does.
choice.
It's good. I feel like a perfect Highlander episode has to have a sword fight.
Yeah, is there like a real action beat in this episode?
When he beats up the brown shirts, this kid's
Yeah.
in
Is
that the
beginning.
closest thing
I
we've
think
got?
So
And that's cool. That's well done.
yeah,
But
yeah, you're right. There isn't like any. This isn't not an action heavy episode.
Which is crazy that an episode literally about World War II and Nazis doesn't have a lot of action.
Right, like
So,
the Immortal
that's it.
Sins, there was like shootouts and stuff, like with the rebels, the freedom fighters. So,
And of course, a sword fight.
oh yeah, and it did have that sword fight at the end.
Yeah. So a lot of restraint in this episode.
yeah. And Jan Trisco, who plays the Breslov, the detective or inspector. This is one of the best performances of the series.
It's good.
I think.
And a really memorable character.
Yeah.
Yeah,
could,
like hands down best cop ever.
Yes.
But not even close.
Yeah.
It's like by a long shot.
They gave him
Kicks the shit out of Stosh.
Yeah.
Beckett was one. Beckett.
Bennett.
Bennett. Sorry.
He's the OG cop.
OG.
That's right.
Not because he's black, but because he was the first one.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so he's like his performance alone elevates this episode and like is a stark contrast to that Hitler performance.
Yeah,
And
it's good.
Ingrid is very good too.
She is good.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is a really good episode
Mm-hmm.
and it's a must watch.
Keith, how many tiki torches would you give this episode?
It's funny that I have that written down here too. And some possible things to ask you guys. The other one I had 4 possible options. The other was how many good people on both sides would you give this episode?
Oh, no.
Great folks, but
Great, folks. That's right. I will sadly disagree with you two. Actually,
And give it a 5?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna give it a 5. That's right. I think this episode is great. I do recognize there are issues like the Hitler guy, not the greatest. Like also, those are hard parts to play. I think no matter.
it is very hard.
Having to
Like,
play Hitler.
Yeah, it's like what do you bring to that part? That hasn't already been brought, right? But oh god, but like, yeah, those sort of roles are hard to fill,
Thankless.
especially for a TV role that it's kind of cartoony anyway.
Yeah, it's like one day of shooting.
I don't think I faulted so much for the murder of the cop. I think it's not the cleanest analogy they try to make.
Yeah.
Not great, but I get what they were kind of going for. That she feels like she will stop at nothing to get this mission done, and I'm like, I get it. Like, if that's the point of this,
More interesting in another setup. Mm-hmm. Like in a setup where it feels more commensurate to the situation at hand.
I thought AP crushes it in this episode. Like he is so he does so much just with his like eyes and face, like to communicate like how hard this is, which is great. Yeah, it's funny, Eamon, you mentioned like, oh, there's no sword fight. I didn't even realize. Like, I think maybe because there is a quickening, you kind of
Right.
think it's like, oh, well, there was a quickening. There's a fight. No, there isn't. Like, I think this episode actually does a great job of lifting all that tension up without the sword fight, which is nuts. Yeah, I give it a 5. I think this is could this be my favorite Highlander episode? It's possible.
Ooh.
Like, aside from maybe a sword fight, you're right. Like, it doesn't have that, like, quintessential Highlander-y thing. Although it does have the decapitation, so.
sure.
Quintessential Highlander.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
right.
decapitation is quintessential.
I suppose.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I feel like this episode hits everything I wanted to hit, so.
Hitler.
It lures everything. Yeah, that's right.
No, it's a winner.
So it's a 5 for me. There
Yeah.
you go. There we go. Well, thanks everybody for listening to this week's episode. Write us at HighlanderRewatched@gmail.com and let us know what you think. Tell us what you think about the Ode to Joy thing. I don't know. Tell us anything. Like, what do you think of the boxing thing? We didn't talk about that much. I was kind of curious. Like, did you guys think that plays
kind of
into
analogy?
It was
anything?
dumb. I hated it.
It's just,
Yeah, I
it's
didn't
just a
care for that
weird
either.
rando thing in the beginning that is given too much time.
It's like a mule. It's mechanical. It's to put them
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
It's that this is a space that's multifunctional and that gives them a reason to bump into Ingrid.
All like the boxing acting around, like the spectators watching the match around them was so goofy.
And
Right.
and Mac yelling
Yeah,
advice
yelling-
at the guy
yeah,
like
yeah.
somebody's washed up dad.
Yeah.
Trying to live
It's
vicariously
like a
through his
fight
kid
at,
on the field.
Yeah, a fight at a like little league game or something. Like, oh, come on, Mac.
Mac, by the way, AP, like ruins it. Did you see that on the special features? He does not like the popcorn.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
takes like 5 minutes. Like, they still roll, and he's like, no, cut. He makes them cut the film.
So he can, like,
be like,
spit
ugh,
gross
this fucking
popcorn
popcorn.
out.
He's like, it has mold on it or something. He really did not like that popcorn.
It didn't have mold on it.
Right? No
Yeah.
way it had mold on it.
Come on, AB.
Bleh, bleh.
Blah.
When did they make it? 3 days ago?
Brah, brah.
Very good. Anyway, so write
next.
us and let us know what you think. Thanks again for joining us. Next week, we're going to be talking about episode 11 of season 5, Comes a Horseman. Whoa.
Another
episode
heavy hitter.
99. Or in my German, 99!
Oh, how many Luftballons?
Oh, 99 Luftballons.
Yeah,
Nena.
maybe that's what should have been playing during that quickening.
Oh my God, we should recut it with 99 Luftballons.
Let's
That's
do
a
it.
great song. Nena.
Nay, 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 na, 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 nay, na, na, na. Anyway,
All right, thanks. We've been your Rewatchers. I'm Keith.
this is Kyle.
This is Eamon.
Bye. Eamon,
Hey,
you wanna go?
yo, what's up? Mommy, daddy, mommy, daddy, mommy, daddy, mommy, daddy.